Sent invite. Oh my god, it's finally time to talk to Ryan again. Let me go ahead and pause my Zeldar and go hop on a call with Ryan.
For anybody wondering, this is me listening to Dan talking about talking to me because he's on his show. Here, I'm going to mute him.
Hello.
Hello.
What's happening?
Oh, I'm working on some more Black Marrow pages. How's my sound? Am I coming in okay?
Yeah, you sound good. People can let me know if you're too quiet. I think you're in good shape though.
Okay. Yeah, that's been an issue I've been dealing with a lot recently. Has been like just trying to fuss with the sound. You know.
Always fun. Always a good time.
I wanted to ask you, what microphone do you use actually? Now that I got you.
Right now, I used to use a Shure SM57, I think, but right now I'm using just the out of the box on the new Mac workstation.
Okay, yeah, because
Yeah.
I have like an Apple microphone. It was like a really cheap one I got, and I'm wondering if maybe it's time to upgrade.
Yeah, I might have actually an extra one I could ship over to you for like basically nothing. I think I have like three. Let me check and see if I still have it and I didn't throw it away. And if I do, I'll just send it to you.
I mean, yeah. What did you pay for it? I'll buy it off you.
I honestly can't remember.
Okay.
It's not much. It's there's a little push to talk one that has pretty good sound quality. I don't think it's a Yeti, but it's like a different brand like that. And then I think I have a couple Sures, but I don't remember if I gave them away when I moved. I have to go check my storage and see if they're down there.
Okay, yeah. No, if you're like if you're not using it and you just want to get rid of it, I'll totally take it because this
I'll
microphone,
never use it again. Yeah.
I've had this one for a while. This one, and I'm starting to notice that like there's a limit to the. I mean, it's fine. It's perfectly serviceable, but it's
Mhm.
like when I hear your sound quality, I'm like, oh, that's much better than what I'm doing. So clearly, I got to upgrade a little bit.
Yeah.
And from what I hear with YouTube, that's like the biggest thing is sound quality, like more so than visuals for people talking. Um, as far as like getting people to watch your stuff and listen, and I'm always trying to. I was getting really good views before I left, and then they kind of took a dip. So I'm wondering what I got to change in my format. So I'm trying to figure
Hmm.
that out because
What was how significant was the dip, and did you change anything in what you were doing?
not it's not very significant at all because it's I it's a young channel, so it's like I went from getting like 200 views to like 120. It's like, but I'm noticing that I'm not getting as many like day of a video dropping. I would get like 200 to 300 views, and now
Sure.
it's like much slower to get views. And I know the algorithm changes a lot. The thing that
Well, the
changed.
algorithm
Sorry, go
also
on.
used
Yeah,
to I don't know if this is still true, but the algorithm used to also prioritize if you're uploading on a consistent schedule daily,
yeah,
it would tend to bump you up more.
yeah. It
I
should
think.
still be doing that. That's like the fundamentals of like social media is like people who.
Yeah, I think it still would do that. Like if I took a big like if I was streaming every day for 2 months, more people would see me because it would start to promote me more. But then if I stopped for 2 months and came back, it wouldn't put me back in the queue at the same spot. I think is how it used to work. I
Yeah,
think.
no, that makes sense. Yeah, and I did, I was gone for like 2 weeks. So the thing I was thinking that I was doing differently that was messing with the people, or that people didn't like, was that I put my little Patreon banner at the bottom of the screen.
Mm,
And I was like, oh, it's possible people don't like that. So I got rid of it. I'm trying to see if there's any difference there. Because I don't know. I
maybe.
personally wouldn't care, but for some people, if they're there to watch you draw and they have a little thing in the corner, even if it's not too obstructive, I could imagine it bothering people.
Was it live viewers or total?
Uh what do you mean? Was what which one?
Like the 150, 200, were those people watching you live or total video views?
Oh, total. Yeah, if I had 200 live, that'd be overwhelming.
Okay, I'm trying to think here.
The only
So it's
artist I
probably
know who's getting those kind of live views is like Steven Zapata and Dave. Those are the ones getting the 200 plus People.
Yeah. So it's probably not daylight savings related. So I don't know. Yeah, it might just be the break. It could be the Patreon thing. I don't think people are that hostile against a Patreon link though.
Yeah, I don't know. I sometimes it's surprising, like little things that change. So like you've seen how my format changed, where I was drawing with the Huion tablet with a direct feed, and then I switched to just a camera pointed at my iPad.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing now. Is like people just that changed the channel so much. Like I was getting so many more views after that, and I'm still much higher than I was before I switched to the iPad camera. And I'm wondering if it's just because people like seeing your hand when you're drawing. They like seeing the way you do it.
Sure.
Because I get a lot of people that are just like, I don't know if you, I feel like you get a much more active chat. I tend to have like the same people in the chat, same 10 people, but then I get all the views are mostly like lurkers who just like to watch people draw. Um,
It's weird because like I don't know, back when I was doing like when I was in like peak locked in mode over the winter last
mhm.
winter, I think I was getting up closer to like 40 regularly and I was getting more like random people coming in because like my
Wow.
YouTube channel has a lot of subscribers from back when I did the Crimson Dagger stuff, but a lot of
Yeah.
those people have since like deleted their accounts and stuff. But
Yeah.
I was also getting this weird phenomenon where people that followed me from years ago were suddenly being recommended my lives, and they were like, "I didn't know you still had it." Like, YouTube did a weird thing where randomly some switch flipped, and it started showing people that had been subscribed to me for like a decade that I was live again, and I don't know why it did that, and I don't know why it stopped.
Yeah, that's interesting. They're like, "Oh my
It's
god, you're
very weird.
alive."
It's weird because then it stopped doing it, and then it did it again, where like people will come in and be like, "Oh, I've been subscribed to you forever. I never see your lives." And like it's weird that it shows you sometimes.
Yeah, you see, I don't know. I don't know why that would happen. But it is interesting that because you were really active on YouTube and then you took a lot of time off and then you came back, and so it's like,
Yeah,
and it's largely a different format because that's when I discovered you way back in the day, and it's actually that's how you and I actually met. Was that I used to watch your stuff all the time when I first started my career, like you and Dave just talking Crimson Daggers and stuff,
yeah.
and then I didn't hear from you guys for years after the first Steve Lichman. I think I just kind of fell off in following your work, and then you popped up on my YouTube channel, and then like a few weeks later is when you and I talked on the phone. So it's kind of
Mm.
it's kind of like you. I don't know. I guess for a while you just didn't want to do it. I guess right. I mean, you had other stuff going on.
We were doing once we started doing our Steve books, and the real thing that killed it is when the problem with the Crimson Daggers thing is that it worked a little too well, and like all of a sudden after doing it for a few years, I was in a place where I had like five jobs at the same time, and one of them was an in studio job. So like I was going in at 6 in the morning and working for 3 hours till 9, then working an 8 hour day, then
Hell
staying there
yeah.
till midnight, then
Hell yeah.
working like another 6 hour day.
Hell
And
yeah.
but I did that for like a year, and then I just at the end of that, Dave had met Kim and moved to Colorado that same year, and then at the end of that, me and Dave were both kind of like, we got to do something. And then coincidentally at the same time, the Steve books had picked up. I mean, the comics had picked up traction online.
Hmm.
We had decided we didn't want to do Skull and Shark, and we were like, well, let's try and make a book out of this Steve thing. And then we did that, and that became like full time job. So fulfilling that and doing that kind of became the new everything. And then when that was done, I started streaming again once in a while, and it just kind of, yeah, there was a good 5 year period where I just was not online at all.
That's probably healthy. That's probably good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. We would do occasionally, like I would hop on Dave's thing. We do like Mousetrap and other stuff like that.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I would do things like that. But me streaming, I just did not.
Yeah.
Kim, I am doing a personal project where I take all these sprites. I'll zoom in. I take all these sprites from the original Legend of Zelda, and I try to draw what I thought they were when I was a kid. And this is what I thought this thing was. I thought it was like a cool carved marble statue from some ancient civilization that came to life when you touched it. So I'm doing that.
Oh, is that Kimberly in the chat?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Kim?
Yeah.
Kim was very nice when I wanted to send her a copy of Black Marrow. before it came out because she was so nice to me in the chat that I was like, I just want to give you a free copy.
Kim's great.
Yeah, no, she's a sweetheart. She's so
The
nice.
best.
I remember I reached out to her because um, there was like, I mean, this is probably something she doesn't even remember because she has a busy life, but there was like I don't catch Dave's streams that much, but there was one where some guy was like really fucking rude to her in the chat.
I remember this. Yes.
And and I remember getting mad even though I don't know either of these people. Like I was just like
Yeah.
it was just because I just know I've encountered her as being very nice, and watching and like seeing someone leave a rude comment for no reason made me like angry, even though like I so I remember messaging her and I was like, hey, I'm sorry that happened, and she's like, it's fine, I don't care, like it's fine, it's fine, I don't know that guy. But yeah, Kim's very patient with people, she's very sweet. Hi, Kim.
Occasionally, there's always some weird incel dude who's like, "We're here for Dave. We're not here for whoever the fuck he's with." It's like there's always, yeah,
Yeah, because they
yeah.
can't relate to having like a wife and kids and wanting to
It's
spend time
so
with them.
funny.
Like they,
It's so funny, especially when like occasionally, it hasn't happened in a long time, but I think it used to be when Kim was fielding questions.
oh
I
yeah,
think that would be what did it. Because weirdly enough, I got a similar thing back in the day when I would take questions on Dave's stream. They'd be like, "We're here to talk to Dave, not whoever the fuck." It was like there's always weird people that go down that like I'm too much of a fan, also kind of an incel route. But yeah,
yeah. It's also weird. Like, what do you think is going to happen when you say that about somebody's partner? Like, what do you think they're going to say to you?
yeah,
You think he's going to be like, "Oh, I hear you, man." Like he's going to be like, "Get the fuck out of here."
yeah, yeah. It's very strange, but
Like if somebody
the
was
internet.
ever if somebody was rude to Malka at a convention, I would probably end up getting thrown out because I'd be like strangling people. Like it's
Yes, it's not good. It's not a good thing to do. And it's a very bad way to make an impression on someone who you're supposedly a fan of. And also just respect people. Like for it's not hard to do, but I don't know.
Have you encountered that? Have you
Uh
as like someone who you're a name, like people know you, like if have you been with people in your life who were not treated as well as you were when they met like people that were fans of your work or something like that?
I mean, I'm not that big of a name. It's not like crazy. I've definitely I think the funniest thing ever. Actually, I'm not going to say what that is because that shits on another artist, and I don't want to do that. Even though it was funny, they were very rude to me, and it was very funny in retrospect. But they're a very nice person, and I don't want to shit on them, so I'm not going to say that story.
Okay.
But
So
sorry for the tease. I can tell you off stream.
yeah, yeah, sure,
But
sure. But just so I'm not going to speculate as to who, but I'll speculate as to what happened is that they were rude, but they didn't mean to be. Is that kind of thing? They just kind of
they
had a
wouldn't
bad
even they
moment.
wouldn't even make eye contact with me. They
Why?
came up to they came up to me and Dave at a convention table, and they started talking to Dave, and I was like, "Oh, hey," and like they didn't like acknowledge my existence, and I was like, "Hi," and like they didn't acknowledge my existence a second time, and then Dave was like, "My friend is saying hello to you," and like he's right there, like is very funny in retrospect, but they weren't trying to be rude. I think they were just nervous,
Yeah. Or
but
they were just excited to meet one of you and didn't know who the other one was. I don't know.
yeah, which is completely understandable because I'm not a name like Dave is, but it was just very funny in the moment.
Well, you're a big name in my house.
Wow, that's all that matters to me.
Your name comes up quite a bit these days.
That's my priority.
Sorry, maybe
But
cut that out.
uh, but yeah, I've had things where like at conventions I've gone out with artists. Like sometimes back in the day when I used to go to conventions a lot, like before COVID, when I'd go to like New York Comic Con every year and other ones in Boston. Sometimes I would bring friends who were like maybe, or I'd bring like students that I had taught when I used to lecture at AIB who wanted to maybe get into doing entertainment art, but they didn't really know what to do. And I was like, oh, come to this convention with me. You can network. Like, I know a lot of these people. I can introduce you. Like, I used to do stuff like that where it's essentially like trying to help people network. And it would happen in those scenarios where like people that I knew or people that I had met online would talk to me and basically just not acknowledge the person I had brought with me. And I'd have to like, just be like, hey, like this is a person who's at a place in their career that you used to be at. I remember when we were both not getting work and like, this person is at that place where they're trying to start out and like you could really help them. You could be that person that you wish someone was to you. Like you should do that. And I've had to have that talk with people a few times. But yeah.
where you had to kind of give him the like, hey, don't let this get to your head.
Yeah, basically that, where it's like, what are you doing? Like, 5 years ago, you were a person who nobody would talk to. You weren't getting any jobs. And then luckily you're here now. And like this person is trying to get their foot on the ladder and like you should help. Like, don't like just because you're making money now, don't forget that you weren't that long ago. And like you should be willing to help people. I've had to have that talk with people a few times, which is annoying.
Yeah, that's that's an embarrassing talk to be on the other end of.
Yeah.
That's like not the person you want to be. You never want to be that. I'm sure you know the movie Willow. Um,
Yeah.
did you hear that? There's like a story from the set where Val Kilmer, he was at the peak of his career, and apparently he was starting to kind of throw his weight around a little bit and be kind of a dick.
Mhm.
And Robert, not what's his name, Ron Howard, who directed Willow with George Lucas, they both took him aside apparently, Val Kilmer, and they were like, "Hey, don't do that."
Yeah.
And he was like, getting a little defensive, and they're like, you don't understand. Like, not only are you being a dick, but like the people that are bringing you coffee,
Yeah.
and he's like, those are the people that spread the reputation of an actor, and they can be the ones who determine as a group whether or not you get work.
Yeah.
So like, be nice
And
to everyone, you know?
yeah, and like I don't know. I remember specifically one of the conversations about one of those instances. It was like, hey man, like this person's going out of their way to like they're a fan of yours. They came here to see you and network with you, and like you're just writing them off because they're not already an established name. And it's
Yeah,
like this is the kind of thing that could make a person quit this career path completely because you're like this is the kind of thing where they could go, okay, maybe I'll just go work a regular job because this experience was so bad. I don't want to do it again. And like you could be killing this dream. Like don't do that. Like that's a very, very shitty thing to do.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't know. I tend to when people do that, I tend to kind of give them one chance to realize what they're doing. And if they don't correct it, I don't usually continue associating because it's like that's
yeah.
shitty behavior. I don't really like that.
Well, also the fact that, I mean, like, I've known you a little while now, and like, I can't imagine you behaving that way towards somebody.
No, not unless they were very rude. Like if they did something crazy, like back in the day in Crimson Daggers, there were some people that were extremely rude, and we had to essentially kick them out of the community. But that was extremely rare. That was very, very few and far between.
Well, can I ask what kind of things happened? Like, you don't have to name
Um,
names or anything, but I'm curious.
they would like ask for critiques on their work, and when people would give them critiques, they'd disagree, and they'd be like, I don't think I don't think you're qualified to tell me what's wrong with my work because
Oh
technically I'm
no.
better than you, and like
Oh no.
I've gotten freelance before and you never have, so I don't want to hear what you have to say, and like just very toxic, shitty things.
That's
A
really
couple
stupid.
a couple kind of sex pesty people that would like only go on streams if there were like female artists on the streams, and like just a lot of there's just a lot of weirdness. But it only happened like two or three times. There's barely any. But
Sex pesty is a great adjective
yeah,
to describe a type of a person.
yeah, it's very
Yeah,
strange. Like I don't know,
that's
but
terrible though.
didn't happen often. Most people were just trying to get a leg up and figure out how to be freelancers and make the thing work. And everybody was generally pretty helpful, but occasionally you'd run into one of those toxic people.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, but it's good as you get older because your instincts for that improve. Like I think in my 20s I was like an open book. Like I was just well, not an open book. I was like an open gate. It was like anyone who wanted to be in my life, I'd be like, yeah, sure, come on, And then it's like,
same here. Yeah, huge mistake.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just I think that's probably a personality flaw we both share. I think in personalities, you and I are very different, but I also feel like we're both kind of like these open calluses. Where we just,
Yeah.
like if somebody, because like I think I told you, someone who was a fan of Black Mirror reached out to me as a fan and like has become like a friend, but it's mostly because I don't have a good way of like separating. Like I'm not great with like, I mean, like I recognize that there's a parasocial element to everything,
Yeah.
but I also feel bad not answering their DMs on Instagram. So I just talk to them a lot, and I'm like, I don't know what to do here,
Right.
but it's just like, you know,
I remember there was one week, the week it really hit me was like right after I graduated college. There was one week where three different friends of mine called me at like 3 in the morning and woke me up asking for a ride because they were drunk. Three separate people. And I was like, oh, I can't be this for this many people. Like, I just can't. I can't. Like, it's like I can be friends with people. I
Yeah,
can have a lot of friends, but I can't be like the
yeah,
person who's going to fix problems for you for this many people. I have to kind of prioritize my own sleep and well being.
yeah, yeah. Also, like people
Um,
should stop drinking so much if they don't have a car available, like a driver. I mean, at some point you got to be an adult and recognize, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
uh,
I
yeah,
don't know. I think when you grow up and you don't have a ton of friends, or if you get bullied a lot, I think everybody who's gone through that goes through a phase where like you don't want to say no to anyone, and you kind of want to be there and be the person that you wish you had for as many people as possible because you feel incredible guilt if you don't because you feel like you're being a hypocrite. But like
mm,
that can become so life destroying so fast because you give so much of your time and attention and help and energy to so many people that there's nothing left for yourself.
yeah,
And that shows up in very weird ways. You get weird coping mechanisms. Like that was a big part of my like I don't want to call it an eating disorder, but like that's definitely a big part of why I gained so much weight early on is because I was super stressed out all the time because I never prioritized my own needs and I was
hmm,
constantly helping other people with shit. And then to deal with the stress, I would just like eat till I fell asleep essentially. It would just shut my body down.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. If anyone listening has that issue, try to find a way to really figure out who matters in your life and like you can be there for those people, but you don't have to be there for every single person.
yeah. It's also,
But
I mean, it's one of those things too that it's like, I don't know if you deal with this, but like, I was, a dorky fat kid growing up, and so
mm,
there's a part of me that like sometimes worries if I'm not being helpful that people will lose interest in having me around. Like that's like a
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, like you don't have any worth other than what you can give other people.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'm really
Yeah.
strong. I can help you move furniture. Can I just do that? And in exchange, you
Yes.
can just say nice things to me. It's like that's,
Yes.
and obviously, like on a surface level, that's ridiculous, and I don't really think that way. But there's a part of me that's always like, I have to keep reminding people that I'm a nice person, or they're gonna just slowly fade out of my life or something. Just
I call it apologizing for my own existence. Where like
yeah,
if someone invites me to a party, I feel like I'm a burden if I don't bring something where it's like, oh, thanks for inviting me over. I cooked you a food for 30 people. Like, here's three lasagnas I brought to your party. I'm sorry that I'm here and I'm breathing air. I'm sorry that I exist. Here's something to help soften the blow of me being around.
here's something to
Like
soften
it's
the blow of me being around.
yeah, that's literally how it feels. It's like, oh, I
Yeah,
can't show up with nothing. I gotta do like I gotta bring something. I can't just show up. Oh, but
yeah,
yeah, it's very, very weird, but it's what happens
yeah. That's why
when
you
you have
fed me
a
pork belly when I came over.
it's true.
Which,
It's
by the way,
true.
I don't know if Kim is still in the chat, but I don't know if you heard, like Kim. Kim, when I told her, she asked me how it went when I came over to your place. I said, "Oh, you fed me pork belly," and she said, but she when she read it aloud, I remember her reading it like a super sexual innuendo that like that I
Mm,
ate Dan's pork belly.
it's true.
And Malka heard that and she's like, "What the fuck is she talking about?"
Hmm.
It's like pork belly. It's a street term for deeds done in private.
It's true. I pork bellied the shit out of Ryan. You have no idea.
Yeah, I didn't even stretch first.
Kim, the sad thing about the past few months, I have gifts for Kim and Dave and the boys
Hmm.
and their Christmas gifts, and it's like almost April, and I still haven't fucking sent them because my brain is like fucking Swiss cheese right now from all the hospital visits. And I keep forgetting. My schedule is so fucking stupid. And like these are
Yeah,
the people I love more than anyone in the world. And like it's so dumb. I just
yeah.
have to send them. I have to just do it.
Yeah, I mean, but they're like your closest
So fucking
friends. They're
stupid.
like your closest friends. They understand, I'm sure.
I mean, you can understand, but still there's a line where it's like, dude, it's like it's gonna be Dave's birthday next week or this in like a couple days. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. I gotta just there's a whole list of things that I need to do, including a whole bunch of bills I gotta pay and things I gotta send and things I gotta mail people. And
Yeah.
book orders I got to respond to that I just have not been able to touch. My brain is just not letting me do it.
Oh, Kim is in your chat. She says Dan doesn't know how to act because I don't accept his gifts, only his presence.
It's true. I'll send these gifts and then you'll have to accept them.
Kim, were you making a pun intentionally about gifts and
Oh,
presents?
gifts and presents, very good.
Yeah, I'm wondering. I probably
It's
not.
very good.
Kim doesn't strike me as someone who puns a lot, but
Kim
maybe.
sent me a great focaccia recipe I'm gonna try this weekend.
Oh shit, really? Oh, dude, but that actually reminds me.
Yes.
Okay, first of all, tell me about the focaccia recipe if you want, and then I want to tell you about the food in Italy because I feel like you'd
I
appreciate.
believe it's I'm gonna do a 3-day one. It's a 3-day rise kind of thing. You let it ferment. I'm gonna try to let it sit for as long as possible, but I've never really made focaccia like this before, so I'm excited. But Kim's been making crazy looking delicious bread lately, and I wanna get on that.
Um, can I, as a response to what you're saying? Oh, so Kim says that was a pun. So can I share with you one of the most cringe-inducing moments of my life?
I want to hear it.
I used to, so when I was in college going to art school so that I could later on
Mm,
draw werewolf cowboys, I
yep.
worked a day job at Aubon Pan. Are you familiar with Aubon Pan, Aubon Pain?
The good bread, yeah.
The good bread. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
and I was at the sandwich bar. I'd make sandwiches for people, and someone had we had all the different types of bread. We had focaccia, ciabatta, some good stuff. And I'm supposed to make a sandwich for this guy, and I get backed up on orders. And eventually, the guy he comes up and he's like, "Hey, yeah, you never made my sandwich." And then I said, with a big smile on my face, because I was convinced this would be amazing, I said, "Oh, sorry,"
Uh-oh.
I said, "I must have focaccia." And he
Oh.
and he just looked at me with
Oh.
cold dead eyes, and my
Oh.
manager supervisor looked over at me and he was like, Ryan, just make the sandwich. Like he was just
Oh no.
yeah.
I'm so
No,
sorry.
it's okay, because at that moment I was like, you know what, that was funny, screw all these people. I was like but later on I was like, you know what, I bet that everyone's make that pun, and I probably I probably was like the 15th person that day.
And then you said, "Is this to go? Because I forgot to bag it." And then you put it in a paper bag and slid it over to him with a threatening look in your eyes. I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna kill you for not laughing at my joke. That's what that look says. Oh no. I'm so sorry.
I actually can't believe that I missed an opportunity to say thank you, Nicholas. Nicholas says 10 out of 10.
Very good. I
But
mean, I appreciate it, but I know what it's like to be in those moments where you do something you think is gonna work out and it does not work out.
yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
teaches you not to be so bold with your humor.
True. It teaches you to hide in plain sight
Yeah,
and swallow it down into a hateful ball that metastasizes inside you.
yeah, exactly.
All the puns that were not made. That's probably the cause of cancer, really,
Yeah,
is the puns we keep inside.
yeah. The pain you feel in life is the pun you withhold. That's the
It's
old saying.
true,
It's
actually.
Confucius.
That's from Dune, isn't it?
It's from,
The Benny
yeah,
Gesserit in that? Yeah.
yeah. Frank Herbert knew what he was talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What are you working on today? You
uh,
said some Black Mirror pages?
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to pick up speed on it, even though I got a ton of freelance work I got to do to pay the bills, because we're paying for this wedding's coming up, and but we got
Mm,
a caterer and we got everything down, so like I'm a little more relaxed, and I'm just like got a good workflow, but giving Black Mirror an hour or two of work a day, just trying to make sure I knock out a page every couple of days.
nice.
But I'm also trying to manage the length of the book,
Mm,
because it's like, so book one was 84 pages including everything, and I'm like, if I go bigger than that, I'm going to have to charge more to, and I don't know that that's going to be good for my audience. So I'm like, okay, right now I'm 26 pages into this, and I got to get to the point so that the story can have a nice arc where
right.
the action hasn't even really peaked at all yet, and we're like 30% through it. So I'm like, okay, this might be a good point to pick up the pace and not rush through the exposition, but maybe pare it down, because this is different, because like book one, I wrote it kind of after I drew it, which is why it has like a really brisk pace because it's like that Marvel method where you force the script to fit the art that already
Oh,
exists.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
And then this one I wrote ahead of time because this is back when I had an editor when I was with that publisher.
I see.
So now it's a little more, and I have a tendency to write fat. Like I write very fat. It's like very big, long monologues, and and then I tend to cut the fat when I'm drawing it because artist Ryan and scriptwriter Ryan do not agree on things.
Sure. Yeah.
I feel like it's probably would be the same with. I know you're not drawing like line art so much of the time, but like it feels like if you write a really long scene and you start to draw it, you're like, what was this asshole thinking putting this much of this scene? Um, I
That's
don't know.
how I feel anytime I go from sketch to final on posters. I'm like, well, why did I do this?
Oh
Why are
right.
there this many things on this fucking canvas? But
Yeah, yeah. That makes
yeah,
sense with you because you tend to do these like huge, luxurious, like epic, images with like 15.
it's stupid. It's stupid. It's needless. Like I could have done 25 paintings in the time it took me to finish this one fucking thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird. I don't know why. It's like this weird, I don't know. It's like its own form of laziness where it's like a weird comfort zone to do these paintings that take so long. I never really feel like I'm getting anything done, even though I'm working all the time on them.
Oh, it's interesting you
It's
call it a form of laziness because it's kind of from Lincoln where he says he's quoting the preacher. He says, "Once I could stop talking, but once I start sermonizing, I'm too lazy to stop."
yeah, yeah. It's sort of that same thing where it's like I can paint all day and I can, I've been people can watch and go back and look at my streams. I'm painting for like huge chunks of time and I'm not really getting anything done, even though if I turn the layers on and off day by day, I am doing stuff and I am making forward progress, but like
Mm-hmm.
it's its own form of laziness. I'm in this weird rendering comfort zone where I need to figure out a way to snap myself out of it because the amount of time I'm spending on stuff is just not worth the return for what I get when I finish these pieces. Like I'm happy with them and it's like, okay, this looks better than the last thing I did. There's a sense of forward momentum, but the amount of time it's taking to do them is like, okay, do I really want to be like a 50-year-old dude with 10 pieces in his portfolio? No, like it's really like it's becoming a nightmare. But that's why I'm trying to force myself to do these Zelda concept pieces because I've been sitting on these for years.
Yeah.
And I just want to force myself to get them out because that's a good little 25-piece portfolio of concept art that I can just put out there, and they're not going to take the amount of time that one of those fucking Elden Ring paintings would take.
Oh
No,
man.
I love working for Meatbone. They're an amazing client,
Yeah.
great art direction, super awesome. But those paintings are like, okay, I'm not doing anything for the next 4 months. Like, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I do feel a little bad because the King Arthur piece that you're doing for me is kind of in the same vein, but hopefully not quite as.
well, let
Yeah.
me tell you, buddy, that's going to be my soft launch into drawing with clip. I'm going to try to do that as a piece of line art first without rendering.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try to force myself to do that line art completely finished before I dive into rendering any of it.
Later, Kim. Kim says bye. I
I
think.
can't.
Oh.
What I'd like to do if I can. I don't know if I'll be able to do this. This
Hmm.
is a maybe. I'd like to do the line art, and I'd like to make the line art kind of thick, and I'd like to color it as if it were an old stained glass window. That's kind of the vibe I think I want to go for.
Oh my
But
God. Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see if I can have the restraint.
I know I already said this, but thanks so much for doing that, man.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Like it's really I know you got a lot of stuff to do, and the fact that you were able to like do a commission for me is really exciting. Like I showed
Yeah,
my co-writer and he was like, holy shit, dude, you got Dan doing a piece for this. I was like, yeah. It's like I got
yeah,
it.
man, it's gonna be great. I'm excited to do that.
I was like, I got this and a pork belly.
It's true. You'll get more pork belly next time you come out.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
It's true, dude.
I didn't want to be that obnoxious American when I was in Italy taking pictures of food, but I did do a little bit of that.
Yeah,
So I gotta,
you have to. You're in Italy. It's
yeah,
literally when in Rome. What do you come on? What do you
yeah.
literally when in Rome? Like you got to do it.
But then when in Rome, do as the Romans do. No one else was taking pictures of their food except me, but I don't care.
Yeah, but It doesn't matter. They get to live it. They don't have to worry about the next time they're going to see it because they see it every day.
Dude, it's incredible how like common it is to just have amazing food there. Like it's just everywhere. Like they're so spoiled for their incredible. Like it's just I can't imagine being there and going anywhere else and eating something and being like, what is this?
Mm.
Like even the we were laughing, Malka and I at the airport. We were giggling our asses off because we were like, we were in the airport in Rome getting airport food, which is famously not great because it's airport. It's like food at Penn
Yeah,
Station, that kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And she comes back so she's like, I just got this at one of these stores, these like Italian, it's like the Italian version of like a 7-Eleven or something. And it was it would look like a Snicker bar at first. It was like like a really thick
Mhm.
meaty bar, and then you open it up and it was just a bar of perfectly aged Parmesan,
That's great.
and you can just eat it like a candy bar. And it was so good. It was like rich with like fat and like and
Hmm.
it's from some local, it's like right there from Italy, and it was just delicious healthy cheese. It was just
I
beautiful.
love that.
And it was like that's like a snack you get at the airport, is like some like raw unpasteurized Parmesan cheese that's like from a farm in northern Italy or something, and they just send it down to. It's like that's crazy. It's like that. Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's funny. You just made me realize something when you were talking about that.
What?
Um, Airport food is the worst because airport food, by definition, are the only restaurants that aren't the destination.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it's like, I'm gonna go to this restaurant. Like that's the point. You're going there to eat. Airport food is like you're not. No one's going there to eat. You're going somewhere else because you're at the airport. That's
yeah,
very funny. That it's just like coincidental.
yeah.
I happen to be here. Food
Unless you're
happens to be
unless you're
food.
Louis C.K. at the Cinnabon. I don't know if you ever
Oh,
remember that from his stand up, where he's like talking about,
I do.
he's like, I get Cinnabon at the airport on the way home. He's like, that means I'm 10 minutes from my house, but where I got apples and bananas and shit, but I just want a Cinnabon, and I'm just, yeah, it's great.
Do you have a fast food weakness? Do you have like a chain or something that you have an unhealthy relationship with?
Yeah.
You
I
don't have to
do.
talk about it if you don't want.
No, 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 it's fine. I'm okay to talk about it. I I occasionally get a hankering for Taco Bell,
Oh, interesting.
which is like really would be upsetting to many members of my Hispanic family because it's like not really Hispanic food. I sometimes get a hankering for that. I mean, honestly, dude, it's bad. Like if I get a weird craving for like a Wendy's burger, but Wendy's, like, their meat is at least higher quality. It's like not full of,
Sure.
but yeah, I get a craving for like Pizza Hut sometimes.
Okay.
Like Domino's pizza, like really trashy stuff, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but that's about as low as I go. I try to. There's a local diner. If I have a hankering for food and I don't want to cook, and it's like I'll just like, okay, quickly go get an omelet before you make a mistake.
I
And
love a greasy spoon. I do love a local diner.
yeah, oh dude, you would love. I mean, you've probably been around New Jersey a bit, but New Jersey is known for its diners. It's like,
Oh yeah, I've been to a few in Jersey. Yeah,
yeah.
man.
What about you though?
Oh, buddy, listen. I got to take you on a little journey first, okay?
Okay.
Let's take you on a little journey before I share this shameful secret with you.
Did you hear that sound? That's the sound of me buckling in. Go for it.
Yeah. So when I was a kid, uh, listen, I don't want to get too heavy here, okay? I know you met my dad.
Yeah.
My dad was not shy with the belt when I was a kid.
Oh man.
And he was not shy with the fist, and he was not shy with the open palm, and he was not shy with the tree branch, and he was not shy with the bat. Okay. I got
Wow.
the shit kicked out of me numerous times. And afterwards, if he felt guilty, he didn't always feel guilty, but afterwards, if he felt guilty, he would take us out for Chinese food.
Right.
And that was the everything's okay apology comfort food. And now, as a result, as a grown man, I have to stay within 1,500 feet away from a Panda Express. I can't go near them. I can't go near them, which is it's funny because for the longest time we didn't have them here. There was just none. It was only like if I traveled out to Colorado, I'd see them everywhere and I'd have panic attacks. Like, oh my God, I can't go. Stay away. But now they're starting to build them here and it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. It's like a gravitational pull of like, no matter how bad my day is, that will fix it. That'll fix it. So it's like I can't go near there. I can't. It's so weird. The like whatever neural pathways in my brain are there that were forged in youth are connecting Chinese food to too many solutions. It's like it's very strange. It's very, very weird. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a Pavlov response of like, I don't know. It's very strange, but yeah, it's
Yeah. Well,
Panda
because you
Express.
associate it with like comfort, obviously. So you're
Yes.
just like,
Yes.
I
Yeah. So yeah, I gotta stay away from Panda Express.
have a number of questions.
Go on.
Uh, I'm going to ask you about your dad in a second, but first I wanted
That's
to ask.
fine.
You seemed surprised that I liked that I could enjoy Taco Bell, but to be fair, to be clear, I enjoy in the way like I enjoy like horrible, nasty things that later make
Sure.
me hate myself. But you seem surprised by it. I'm wondering why. Like, what did you think my answer was going to be? I'm interested.
I was only surprised because whenever I hear people say that Taco Bell is like their go-to or like their like guilty pleasure comfort fast food, it's usually people like most people I hear talk about Taco Bell that way are big drinkers.
Ah,
It's like a I'm fucked up at 2 in the morning and Taco Bell's open late and we're gonna go eat a ton of Taco Bell and throw up and go to bed. And it's like an after party food and you don't strike me as a big partier.
I'm
But the
not.
context I always hear people talk about Taco Bell and is usually after like a rager or a night clubbing, we're gonna go to Taco Bell.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's true. I am not a partier. For anyone wondering, Ryan likes to go to bed at like 9:30.
Oh yeah. Love a 9:30.
I like to watch a movie on the couch with Malka while she falls asleep and begins snoring so loud that I have to turn the movie off. That's like my
Mhm.
party. Um, but yeah, no, Taco Bell. It's more like Taco Bell is like, those stories you see on like true crime where like the guy dies and then the family finds all this horrible stuff on his computer.
Mhm.
Like if I die tomorrow, Malka's gonna find all of these receipts from Taco Bell and be like, "Oh my god."
Did I even know him?
Yeah.
Who was I marrying?
He was going for runs and he was doing all this healthy stuff, and then when I was out at work he would go to Taco Bell and just eat hunched over a garbage can like a coked up goblin.
That's great.
That's going to be my legacy.
That's very great.
But I wanted to ask you about your dad, and
Sure.
have you addressed any of this with him, like as an
Only
adult?
once, only once after like so not to go into like the full lore, but when I was like 12, I it was the only time I ever fought back and I ended up getting him arrested.
Holy shit,
And
dude!
as a result, he went to jail for like a couple days and then he posted bail and got out and then he couldn't be anywhere near me and my brother for a long time and I
Holy
had to go to court
shit!
and testify against him and the government took all his guns away because now he's a risk and after like 2 years of him not being able to be around us I finally lifted the restraining order when I was like 15ish and we like addressed what had happened and I was like if you ever do this again or if you ever hit my brother again if you ever do anything like this you're I'm calling him right back, that's it. And that's kind of the only time we ever really addressed it. He had a few incidents after that, like one time when my brother was taking too long to go to school and he was going to miss the bus, my dad punched the door to his room off its hinges and then narrowly missed my brother's head and put a hole through a wall. And I remember sitting him down and I was like, I'm going to call the police. And I was like, you're not able to control yourself. And that was the only other time that it got real bad after that. But um, yeah, since then, he's done this weird thing that I think a lot of people of that generation do, where slowly over time, he has told himself different versions of what happened in his head until he's essentially warped reality into something it wasn't, where the cops framed him and he never actually really hit us. He like slapped us a couple times and like, but that's what you do. That's how he was raised. And like he's essentially tricked his brain into thinking he didn't do the things that he did.
Yep.
So you can't really talk to him about it because he's living in this like alternate version of reality now where he has to be a good guy.
Yeah.
And so it's not really worth talking about. So I don't really ever bring it up. But but yeah, that was the only time we ever really confronted it was when I lifted the restraining order and let him move back into the house. But yeah,
Damn, dude.
yeah, it's builds character.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because
Yeah.
I when I met him, I had no context of any of this, obviously.
No, yeah, yeah.
So like
It's
I thought it was, I mean, like my impression of your relationship at that evening was like, oh, they have like a charming thing where Dan is like, because like my here was my read of the situation when I met them,
mhm,
and some of this is my own. You know, you have a brain of a writer. You start creating narratives between characters in a room, and
mhm,
sometimes it's a good guess, and sometimes it's your own masturbatory bullshit. You know,
mhm.
but when I saw you two together, I was like, oh yeah, I could see what happened there. Where like Dan came out as a much more sensitive and creative person, and his dad is much more of like the super stoic, possibly like somewhat emotionally stunted previous generation, and they kind of clashed, and maybe now they're at a point where they kind of get each other and they can hang out a little bit. But it's
That's actually pretty close because like as bad as it was with him as a kid and as bad as the physical abuse was, it was nowhere near as bad as what his father did to his kids. So like in his mind, I think he does think that he is a good guy because he wasn't as bad as his own dad. So like once I kind of realized that, I was like, oh, okay, this is like he doesn't know what he's doing. His model for parenthood was a fucking psychopath who, like like a legit like psychopathic guy who after he was kicked off his family farm when he was, like 7 years old for being blind, he was never allowed to come back because like he was couldn't work the farm, he was blind.
so you
So
just
like
get rid of them. That's how you treat your kids for sure. Yeah.
yeah, you get rid of him. And then his older brother was like, well, they're doing experimental eye surgeries in Boston. Let's go to Boston and see if you can get an experimental eye surgery. And they, saved and came up here and he got his eyes fixed at what is now Mass Eye and Ear. And, what are you going to do after that? Go home? Like, no. So yeah, they just kind of stayed up here, but they were from a farm in Illinois. And he's got like 14 siblings. I haven't even met all of them.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know. Once I realized that his childhood was much worse than anything I could, mine wasn't great, but his is like I don't know, that gave me enough perspective to not really forgive, but to put the proper context on it.
Yeah, that's.
It's like if you meet a dog that's been beat its whole life like a junkyard dog and it bites you. I
Mhm.
don't get mad at those kinds of dogs. Like I used to work with rescue dogs at the dog park in Rhode Island where I lived, where they'd bring dogs in from shelters and stuff on certain days of the week and try to re-socialize them. And I got bit a few times, but like when one of those dogs bites you, you don't get mad at the dog. You're like, yeah, of course you're biting me. Like you've been in hell. Like what are you doing? Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you don't freak out. It hurts and but you got to look at it in the proper context.
Yeah. Damn, dude.
But yeah,
Do you think is it okay if I just ask you more personal questions? You seem to be okay
yeah,
with it.
yeah. You're fine. As long as this isn't killing the vibe of your stream, yeah, I'm fine.
No, not at all, man. This is like I take a very Joe Rogan approach to conversations where it's like wherever someone takes it, I'll go, and then I'll ask them if they
Sure.
tried DMT. Um,
Yes. I have not. I want to.
I have not either. I actually Malka was not to veer off too much, but Malka was talking about possibly doing that because apparently it's really good for anxiety.
Bachelor party, me and you, DMT, cat's good. Anyway.
Oh yeah, you should definitely come to my bachelor weekend. By the way, I forgot to tell you the date. It's going to be May 23rd to 25th at that weekend, Memorial Day.
Yeah, let me know. I might not be able to if it's Memorial Day weekend, but I will see if I can. I usually host Memorial Day here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because it's also my birthday weekend, so that's why they chose it for that time.
Gotcha.
But anyways, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I forgot what. Oh, I was gonna ask. Do you think you would have had kids by now? Like you would have had your own family if you weren't still processing some of the crap from your childhood?
Oh, the reason I'm never gonna have kids is because of my childhood, for sure. I'm never gonna be a dad, and I'm never gonna want to be a dad, and I'm never gonna It's yeah, the 100%. It's because of my upbringing. It's not like a choice I made because of population or the economy or personal freedom. It's just I can never. It's not a thing I can ever do. It's just not on the table for me. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you don't want to, or you're afraid what kind of parent you'd be.
both, both. I didn't enjoy childhood really at all from any perspective. I didn't feel safe at home, and I didn't feel safe at school. And I just can't ever see myself in a position where I'd want to be that for anyone, or put myself in that position or be responsible for a life that could potentially go that way. It's just not anything I'm willing to do or to entertain. So
Yeah, but I mean,
unfortunately,
there's
yeah, I'm
like
never gonna.
there's no risk of you being like that. There's no risk of you being like your father. Like you have a totally different
I'm
personality.
sure that's what my dad thought too. You know, I'm sure he thought the same thing.
I don't know. I don't. I mean, I hear. I mean, listen, your feelings are valid. I'm not trying to,
Yeah,
but I also feel like that anxiety you have, while legitimate, having gotten to know you a bit, it might be a little bit irrational because you don't. I don't think you have a cruel bone in your body at all. So
I do. I've
yeah,
it's come up before, and I don't like it when it does. The few times I've gotten in like a real fight, it always goes way too far, and then afterwards I like don't want to bend her, and it's not good. So it's like whenever anything violent has happened in my life, and I've had to do any kind of violence, I have a very hard time forgiving myself after, and it's not great. It's been a long time since anything like that's happened, but it's yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't
yeah,
like that I'm capable of it, but
yeah. When you say bender, do you mean drinking?
I used to. Yeah, a long time ago when I was like I stopped very, very young. I think I started when I was 16, and by 21 I had already stopped
Yeah.
because I was like, this is I can already see it happening. I was like, this is a little too natural. It feels a little too right. So I'm just gonna not do it anymore.
Yeah, and it's like for people who've had some of your experiences, like you were a perfect candidate to become an alcoholic. It's like,
Yeah, the thing for me was I used to when I was in college the first time I would drink basically every day because my roommates drank basically every day.
mhm.
I never got into any hard drugs. They did a lot of those too. I never got into that, but um I remember I got drunk in Boston and I woke up at the end of Cape Cod in my car and I was like I don't remember driving here, and I that's kind of when I stopped. I was like, I'm done with this. I'll drink socially now and again, but only if I'm somewhere. My rules are I have to be comfortable, I have to know the people I'm with, and I have to be okay sleeping at the place I am. Because if there's any chance of me being uncomfortable, not knowing people are getting in my car, I will not get drunk.
Yeah. Well,
I just
but by all accounts, what is your personality when you drink? Do you find that you're jovial, or do you find that you get a little weird?
it's a magnifying glass for whatever I have going on. If I'm with Dave and I'm having a good time, it's the funnest time ever. It's the best night of my life. If I'm going through something emotional, it's like suicide hotline. It's like not it's not good. So
Yeah.
it's whatever I have going on, it just amplifies it.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, it's not great.
Well, don't feel pressure to drink at my wedding because both
If it's
Malka's.
a fun time, I will.
Okay,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Because Malka's family and mine, none of us are really drinkers. Like we just don't do it that much. But we have
sure.
alcohol available, and I was like, I'll have a few drinks probably, but I don't want to ever get to a point in my own wedding where I'm saying shit that I wouldn't say sober, because it's like that. If you're the
Yeah,
groom, you got to be tip top. You got to be sparkling clean with all of your content.
yeah,
I'm gonna check the chat real quick.
yeah. Sorry if I'm bringing the tone down, folks.
No, listen, I call for conversation. That's what I'm here. I'm here to hear. I'm here to listen to the timbre of your voice and the pain in it.
Mm,
Edgar says, I don't know much about it, but I know my uncle, whom I lived with for a big chunk of my life when I was younger. His father was abusive and really bad in some way. But he never in his life ever hit me.
well,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah, I think it can go one of two ways, right? You can pass the pain forward, or you can end up being one of those people that's like allergic to violence, where you're like, I will not, you know,
Mm,
um, Jacobo's, yeah, you'd like to be a dad one day. Yeah, I mean, so would I. I mean, Malka and I, we're getting married in 3 months, and then we basically are. We want, God willing, we want to be able to have a family, and soon, because we're both. She's 35, and I'm pushing 39 this year. It's gonna, I'm looking down the barrel at 40 in a couple of years. So,
I want to be the uncle from the Nutcracker.
oh,
Are you familiar?
I've
Are you
never seen the
familiar?
Nutcracker, but I would settle for you as Uncle Buck. That would be great. But go on.
So the uncle in the Nutcracker's name is Drosselmeyer, and he's a old guy who wears
Mhm.
a cape and like a pirate hat, and he has an eye patch, and um he's a toy maker, and he makes these amazing toys, and he has a relationship, like the kids think he's like this magical guy, but he's never really around. He's like this mysterious figure, but he shows up at Christmas parties and he brings the most amazing toys to the kids,
Mhm.
and then he sort of disappears again. And like I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with being that kind of thing where I just show up randomly and it's like it's all good times when I'm there, and then I disappear. You don't see me again for a year, and it's fine. But yeah, I'm kind of fine with that.
I don't know. I mean, you're presumably you're still gonna date, right? You're still gonna be like meeting women, and like it's there's a possibility that you're gonna be with someone again soon who's really into your shit and like wants to carry your babies, and then you're gonna have to make a decision about that. But I don't know, Dan.
Uh,
I think you'd be a really good father. Like honestly, I really do. I'm not just saying that because we're friends. Like I think you'd be a really patient, good dad. So,
well, I appreciate that. I will bring very many wonderful magical gifts to your. I will magically appear with my cape and my iPad.
What you're describing, I picture Mad Eye Moody. I know that's not it exactly, but Mad Eye Moody from Harry Potter is kind of the image I have in my head when you describe the eye patch and the. But yeah,
Mm. But yeah,
yeah.
that's my stance on that. How many kids do you want to have? Are you a one, a two, or a three, four, or a five?
Well, Malka always said she wanted to have a boy, a girl, and then a surprise, which always made me laugh because I was like, well, they're all surprises in a way. I mean, it's not like you can prescript what you're gonna have for either of them. But I guess she means like she wanted to have a boy, a girl, and then like a third kid that's like could be anything. Could be a cantaloupe. Could be
Mm.
could be a wild eel.
Mm.
But for me, but we said that when we met many years ago, and we we're very late to get married and start a family. So now that we're a little older, I'm like, I don't know, I could stop at one, maybe two, if we're lucky. If we're lucky to have one, God, amazing. If we have
Sure,
two, that's pushing it because we're she's, I mean, whatever, she's not old, she's 35, and I'm
sure.
I'm
But
38.
still, no
Yeah,
matter how you space them out, it's going to be a lot of young kids at the same time.
exactly. And
Yeah,
also, like I know that the later you start having kids, the higher the risk is of developmental problems. And I worked with special needs kids for 4 years. I was a phys ed coach for kids with autism, and like I love them, God bless them, but like
hmm
I would prefer not to have to raise a child. Like, and the odds of that happening go up the older you get. So like I
yeah,
would
yeah,
um so that's something I'm cautious of. And I worked with a lot of people in that field that were like, yeah, I love these kids, but like after doing this for 8 years, like I wouldn't want to like be on the other end of it as a parent as well, because that's just a lot. It's draining.
sure.
So that's the whole thing that I've been concerned about, was like, listen, if we get lucky, not it's, you're lucky enough to have any kid who's even remotely healthy, but like I would love to, if we stop at one and the kid comes out, with no issues, I'm like, okay, maybe we should cut our losses. But I know. I mean, I hope I don't sound offensive to people. I'm not trying to, um, I'm not trying to make it sound like someone with special needs would be unwanted. Like, obviously, I'd love my kid no matter what. But I'm
Oh
just,
yeah, no, but it's a challenge.
yeah, and I'm just aware of it because I worked with it for years, so I know what those challenges look like.
Yeah, yeah, of
Um,
course it's a challenge. Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would love to maybe have two, but they would have to be close together. But one of our neighbors, that we used to live with, or downstairs from us, she started having kids at like 41, and
Okay.
her, there was no. I had, she confided in me. She was like, "Yeah, I never had a miscarriage, nothing," and everybody told me I was going to, because when you start at an older age, like the odds of having those experiences are higher. But she's
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, it was just easy. Kid popped right out." I was like, "Oh,
It's
Great.
so weird, the case by case stuff and how different it is for so many people.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's surprising too because it's like there's people like there's women who just like drink all the time and don't care what they eat, and then they give birth to like perfectly healthy children. And there's people who are like fitness nuts and they have a really hard time conceiving.
True.
And I just don't know. I don't know what the rules are. A lot of it's got to be genetics, just like your disposition.
It's very strange to me. I don't. It's weird how particular so many things are and how little we understand about how the genetics of it all works.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't know. I'd like randomly, so many people in my family have this weird blindness issue, like with the eyes.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
And
From
like, but then some don't randomly. Like my uncle, one of my uncles doesn't have it, and it's like, why? Like, and then half the brothers on my in my dad's family look like Mario, and the other half look like Luigi. And it's like, okay, like what's that? What's going on there? Like it's very strange.
half of them look like Mario, the other half look like okay.
Yeah,
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 that's
it's
funny.
very weird. It's like some of them are short, fat, some of them are tall, thin, and it's like I don't know what this is. Like it's just weird things that turn off and on.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's similar with my family. So like most of the men in my family are actually quite short. Like the
Interesting.
yeah, my brothers they're like 5'7" and 5'8", I think, maybe 5'9" at most.
Okay.
And my dad is like 5'6", 5'7". And a lot of men in the family are just like relatively short. And then I'm like one of very few that just popped up, and for some reason I was 6 feet when I was like 12, and it's like nobody knows how that happened. Just like whatever,
Mm.
And I look like my dad, like I resemble him, so there's there's no doubt about that. But like it's just it's just for some reason some latent genes popped up where like every now and then one of the guys in my family just sprouts up and we're like way bigger than everybody else.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Or it's like randomly someone looks like their great grandfather, but neither of their parents. You're like, what is going on there? Like what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that's my brother. My brother does not really look like either of my parents, but he looks like my grandfather who died. And it's like, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's so creepy." It's like he kind of is reborn in your son a little bit. I was like, "How did that happen?"
Oh no. From A24.
Yeah, yeah. That. Oh my God, that would be one of those movies. What would it be called? Give me an A24 title for that.
Generational ancestry. What would it be? It can't be hereditary. We already
Yeah, and
did that.
I was just thinking Hereditary would be a good title if it wasn't already used.
Yeah. That's
Um,
very funny.
um, yeah, or it'd be like Latent. you know,
Layton's good. Layton's good. Layton's very good.
or they would just name it the name of the character, and he's like named after the grandfather, so it'd be like it would just be called like
True.
like Thomas or like
Virgil.
yeah yeah yeah
Some biblical adjacent name.
yeah absolutely. Um,
Oh goodness. These paintings are gonna kill me.
you say that
They
about
are.
you say that about
They're
most of
gonna
your
kill,
paintings. To be fair,
they're gonna kill me, dude.
it looks great,
Oh
man. I'm
man.
watching your stream. It looks beautiful, man.
Oh, I get to a certain point and then I'm like, oh, this thing isn't centered. Time to copy paste and skew and all the other fun things and just little things that could have been avoided if I just did the drawing first. That's the lesson. Just
Yeah,
do the drawing first.
yeah.
But
Or live
no.
like me and do the drawing only. This is
True.
essentially my life.
That's the real life hack.
Yeah, it's I occasionally I get a commission for a painting, and I'm like, all right, it's just gonna be a drawing, and then I'm just gonna paint over it. I hope that's all right with you, you know. But I'm looking at your chat, and someone Neo says Dan's going to be a dad. Sorry, I just came in.
Yep. I
you
got kids on the
you
way.
nailed it. That's exactly it.
That's exactly what I said.
Definitely was not Dan divulging some really intense lore about his childhood. It was definitely him just
Yeah,
talking about
not
it.
at all. I would never do such a thing. I would only have kids, always and forever.
I would. It's the only thing he wants to do is have kids. Like that's it. He doesn't even want to draw anymore.
Plus, like, I don't know, having a dad who has a library isn't cool. But having an uncle who has a library, that's kind of magical. That's a Narnia situation. Anything could happen there.
Why do you think it is the uncle and not the dad?
I don't know. I think because it's the inevitable thing of like whatever your parents do when you're a kid has to be lame for a certain
Yeah.
amount of years. It's like if your parents do it, it's lame no matter what. They could do the coolest thing in the world and it's lame because they're the ones doing it. And
Oh yeah.
I think it's just that. I think it's just that.
Yeah, I think about the fact like I don't even have a kid yet, and I think about what it's going to be like when that kid is a teenager,
Mm,
and what an asshole he or she might be,
hmm
and how it's going to bother me that they don't think I'm cool, even though like I have the coolest resume of anybody I know.
Yeah.
There's nobody I know who was a boxer and then a comic artist, and the kid's going to be like lame.
And then there's nothing worse than a dad yelling at their kid, "I'm cool.
Oh yeah, no.
Why don't you think I'm cool?" Like it's like
Yeah,
so yeah.
it's like that SNL skit with Will Ferrell back in the '90s where he's sitting down to dinner. I don't know if you Sarah
Oh
Michelle
yeah.
Gellar, she was the guest that
Yes. I
episode.
drive what does he say? I drive
I drive a Prius. He's like screaming it.
yes. Very good.
It's so sad, but it's great. It felt that felt like that was birthed by the American Beauty, premiere, like that type of character.
True.
When was the last time you saw that movie?
Is American Beauty the one? I get these two mixed up in my head all the time. Is American Beauty the one with Frank Underwood? What's his name?
Frank Underwood. I don't know who that is.
The guy from House of Cards. What's
Oh,
the
Kevin
Kevin?
Spacey. Yes, yes.
That's
Sorry.
American Beauty, and the guy next door is the military guy who's closeted gay.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I've
Spoiler
saw.
alert. Sorry, continue.
Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen that movie. Um,
Yeah.
I want to say probably 3 years ago, but I've seen it numerous times. I'm very familiar with it.
Yeah, yeah. It's really. I mean, I think it's really good, but I also think a big part of why that movie is so good is because of the score of Thomas Newman,
Yes,
who is my favorite composer, possibly of all time.
my favorite line in that movie is, "No, no, no, you don't get to tell me what to do ever again."
Yeah, so
And he
good.
hands her the fast food. Very good.
Yeah, while he's serving her at the drive-in, it's so good.
Yep.
No, my favorite line is from that exact scene. That same scene. It's when her because she's like making out with this guy, cheating
hmm
on him, and she's like, Lester, stop it. And he's like, no, that's when he says, you don't get to tell me what to do. But before that, when the guy's like, he makes eye contact with the guy who's been making out with his wife, and he says, "We've met before, but something tells me you're going to remember
To
me
remember
this
this
time."
time.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's
It's
so
very
good.
good.
It's really good.
Yeah, the ending of that movie always gets me. That ending is wild.
Oh, where he's like floating above the suburbs, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Remember, there's so much beauty." Yeah, no, it's an incredible movie. And then I feel like a lot of movies tried to be American Beauty for like 15 years, where it was like the horror of the suburbs. It's just like
Mhm.
really over the top. Um, but man, one of my dreams in life has been, and I know this will likely never happen. Even if my career really goes where I want, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do this. But I still love to dream about it. Would be to there's a script I've had for years of like kind of a sorry, let me turn off my phone. Like a retro futurist superhero thing where it's like a 1930s futuristic kind of golden age DC universe,
Mhm.
and I always wanted to have the score done by Thomas Newman.
Okay.
So like a kind of like a nostalgic, very kind of American historical sound to a soundtrack for like a comic book film. It's like the kind of thing I've always wanted to see.
I could see that.
Yeah, and it's just I think he's great. Like I've watched interview. I know I'm not someone who like watches interviews about musicians. Like I don't care about that stuff. But with him, I will track down conversations he's had because I want to know so much of like what's going on in his head. I just love his music. I love his music. It's like it helps with anxiety. I find like it's so
Yeah.
soothing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I get that. There's a composer whose name I'm drawing a blank. Is it Steve Reich?
what
It's another one who's like that for me, where I listen to their work. I think it's Steve Reich. I might be wrong.
What did he work on? Is he a film composer? Is he just classical?
He's classical, but I think he's done some film stuff. But his stuff is always it's layering rhythms, so it'll start with like a xylophone just going like ding 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 ding, and then after like four, another note will come in again, tick, 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 and they'll just start building.
Hmm.
And by the end of it, it gives you enough time to kind of hear each layer and get used to it. And then by the end of it, there's like 50 things happening, and they're all kind of working together and around each other. But
Hmm.
you've listened to them build slowly over the course of the music, and it just becomes this crazy tapestry of sounds. It's very interesting.
And you find that that actually calms you down? Is
A
that
little bit, yeah, a little bit. It's kind of hypnotic in a strange way. I think because there's so much rhythm to it, I
yeah?
think it kind of becomes this weird musical white noise in a strange way.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I could see that. Because
But yeah,
I was imagining it almost like Tubular Bells, which is like not great if you're feeling anxious.
no, it depends on the piece. The more
Okay.
percussive ones can be a little anxiety inducing, but the more melodic ones are very interesting. They kind of zone me out sometimes.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah,
Send me
it's
a
like
link
the
if you
weird
can.
like old weird prog rock stuff where like it's just weird ambient sounds that layer and you just kind of zone out.
That's awesome. Yeah, I
Right?
think anything that helps you like not think for a while
Yes.
is hugely important. I think that human beings are probably designed to have way more time where they're just not they're not like actively like focused on something, and I think we are kind of living wrong in that way. Um,
My new sleep hack is to put on an 8 hour lore video and turn it all the way up and then put it under a pillow. And so while I'm laying down, it's just
can you even identify it? Can you tell
no,
what's being said at all?
only occasionally because it's nice because I don't have to pay attention. It's like I can sort of hear what's going on, but it's not so clear that I'm getting attached to a story, which would keep me awake.
Yeah.
It's very strange. I don't know why it's so good for falling asleep. I don't know why particularly that has helped me so much, but it has.
That's kind of how I feel about Vati Vidya.
Yeah, Vadi's great.
He's great. I've watched hours of lore videos for Elden Ring, and I still know nothing about the lore because I just can't ever give it my full attention. And it's not his fault. He's amazing.
Oh,
I just tend to zone out because it's something about. I think he has a pretty soothing voice.
there's something peaceful about his presentation.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
lands between, far away, seek the blah 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 blah. Yeah,
yeah. He also. Have you seen him? What he looks like?
no.
It's hilarious because he is shockingly good looking. Like he
Oh,
looks.
that's fine. I'm not surprised.
I was because I imagine kind of like a stringy Englishman, and
Sure,
he looks like a male model. He's so handsome, and
that's great.
the person interviewing him at some games like convention had to acknowledge it because it's like the elephant in the room is like, "Wow, you're so handsome," and it was so awkward.
That was the meta for a while was people with that accent doing lore videos. It was like Alt Shift X for all the Game of Thrones things. It was Vadi
Yeah,
Video. There was another one, but that was a big thing for a while.
yeah. Alt Shift X is great. I really like his Game of Thrones stuff.
Yep, I've definitely put those on under a pillow to sleep too.
When you were telling me that, what I thought you were going to say is that you put it under a pillow and then you put your face in the pillow and scream. I was like, oh,
No, no, no.
uh,
I scream out loud. I live alone. I can do that all I want.
you don't worried
I
about
don't have to muffle that shit.
startling your dog.
No, 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 no. She's used to it. It's every day. It's part of my routine.
Edgar says Dan has a library. Yeah, Dan has a
I do.
library.
I do. It's growing every day.
He has a library, a dog, a samurai helmet,
It's true.
an old musket.
A couple swords, antique diving helmet,
That's right.
musket. You know.
Yeah. I remember when I was in Maine after I think it was after I had dinner at your place or before, I sent you a pic of something I saw at the antique shop and it was a musket
Mhm.
and you
Oh
knew
yeah, that was a nice piece. Yeah,
and Dan knew exactly which musket it was and where I saw it at which antique shop and he's like, "Oh, it's still there." It's like
it's so funny.
it's really funny. Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I was going to say Going back, this is a wild change of conversation, but
Do it.
going back to Italy, um, I know that you got a lot going on in your life and you have other trips you got to take, but before you shuffle off this mortal coil, hopefully in
Mhm.
about 143 years, you
Okay.
you need to walk in St. Peter's Basilica,
Okay.
because everybody was telling me about the Sistine Chapel and how amazing it is, and it is great. I love the Sistine Chapel. It was beautiful. It was an experience. I was moved. St. Peter's Basilica was the thing that really changed my life.
I would love to see it.
You are like not prepared for how.
Is okay. Is St. Peter's Basilica the one where Bernini did the throne with like the stained glass halo behind it?
Oh yeah, with the gold like rays
Yeah,
coming out of the cherubs. Yeah,
is that the one?
I think so. Yeah, I think we're talking about the same
Okay.
thing. Yeah,
Then that is on my list of things I have to see before I die because that's my favorite thing Bernini ever made, and he's one of my favorites.
it is, dude. It's a cathedral the size of a small town,
Yeah,
with
it's awesome.
like 4 or 5 cathedrals inside where you can go and like attend mass at different stations.
That's awesome.
It's so huge, and every square inch of it is beautiful. Like you're literally standing in one corner and you look at a pillar that's a foot in front of your face, and there's more details on it than you can even take in at once. And then your eyes kind of zoom out and you realize that level of detail and that level of like baroque attention is distributed all around this structure, on small details, in large, beautiful, huge statues of, depictions of saints. Just it's overwhelming. And I just,
I'm gonna pull this up for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about.
yeah, actually, could you do that for me? Because I want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing.
This thing,
Sorry, there's a bit of a delay.
might be a
Yeah,
delay.
going to be a good 10 or 15 seconds probably
I think
before
it's
we.
the throne of St. Peter, though. I think that's what it's called. And
Yeah.
it's got the gold clouds behind it with the angels and the
Yeah, and the
sunbeams.
angels, they look like dark. They look like they're made of copper. That kind of
Yeah, and
yeah.
there's like there's a dove in the middle of
Yeah.
the oval glass. Yeah.
Yeah, I walked right up to that and I attended a short 40-minute like
It's really
rosary.
cool.
In person it's insane. It's like shimmering gold and there's so much detail on it.
Man, it's so dope.
And you understand the basilica is full of like 10 different corners with things like that, and each one you could lose a whole day like looking at everything.
Here we go. Here's a better photo of it.
Yeah.
I'll pull this up.
And that ceiling, the ceiling above it is so high that when I would like crane my head to look up at all the beauty in the ceiling, like the paintings and the I would actually like get dizzy,
Jeez.
because it's just like it's like overwhelming. It's like looking at an eclipse in the sky. You're like your head cranes back and you kind of lose your sense of like where you are because it's so huge.
Yeah, this
Yes.
is cool.
Thank you, Artifacts. He says no, it's an altar. Yes, sorry, correction. There's many altars. But but it's so huge you can attend different masses in different corners and they don't even interrupt each other.
Does anyone ever sit on that chair, or is it just purely part of the sculpture?
I think the guy who closes the place down probably gets freaky at night, and
I'm just wondering, like, that's not something like the Pope would sit on, right? It's like for St. Peter.
I think it's supposed to be an empty chair for St. Peter. Also, no one can get up there. You'd have to climb up that whole thing just to.
True. That's what the bishops are for. Yeah, they
Yeah.
lift them on. Oh, there is that a real chair for scale underneath it? Or is that part of the altar? I can't tell if that's a chair. I'm zooming in on it. Is that a chair?
Yeah, yes. That is an actual chair. That's where the priest sits during mass.
Oh,
That's
never mind. This is way bigger than I thought.
yeah,
Oh, shit.
yeah,
So I thought the bishop dudes in the sculpture were life size, but they're actually closer to like 20 feet tall.
yeah. And that is the average size of each of the altars, as far as.
Oh man. Okay, this is way bigger than I thought.
Yeah, it's overwhelming in person. It's almost too much to take in, and
Yikes.
yeah, but it's like when I was there, man, I walked around with my headphones for like 3 hours, just listening to like Gregorian chants and like looking at the music, looking at the visuals, and just it's just incredible. And there's like rooms that lead you out of the basilica into side areas that are also just full of incredible stuff from the Renaissance.
Man. Yeah, I gotta go. Did you see any of the skeletons?
I did see one of the there was a place where Emperor Constantine's mother had what the true cross,
Mm.
and at the base of it, you know, you've heard of this. She claimed to have the actual cross from the crucifixion, which I doubt she actually had her hands on. I don't know that anyone has it, but and then underneath it there was like a sculpture of a skull, which is meant to represent Adam, the skull of Adam.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of there was some skeleton stuff, but I not so much in the cathedral as much.
They somewhere in the Vatican there's like a crypt with like jeweled skeletons, like crazy like reliquaries with like actual bodies and stuff, but I don't know where.
Hell yeah.
I've seen pictures of them and they look awesome, but I have no clue where they are.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you see, you would absolutely love it. It would be incredible. And so, oh, remember I was telling you I wanted to pitch you an IP after after spending time there
Yeah.
in Italy. This is what was on my mind while I was like listening to listening to Hans Zimmer, his score for the Da Vinci Code and like walking around the
Mm.
basilica. I was like, okay, so imagine something like how Warhammer is like 40,000 years in the future, and it's based on, like, would you say Warhammer is kind of like gothic, um
Oh
steampunk?
yeah.
There's a steampunk
Yeah,
element.
it's like gothic-y, it's steampunky, it's like orthodox-ish,
Mm-hmm.
very brutalist in a weird way too. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So imagine, and I'm picturing this more. I mean, usually my head goes to comic book, but this I kind of imagine it working really well as a game. And it's like I have some contacts in gaming. Maybe I can pitch this to somebody. I have some people I can propose something to. Maybe I have no idea, but I
Mm.
want to make this a project for at some point in my life would be to do a series of illustrations and concept art for this IP as like just a proposal that somebody can work
Mhm.
with. But a similar idea of like many thousands, ancient futurism. So, for anyone who doesn't know, anyone in the chat, I use that term to talk about things like Dune or Warhammer, where it's like it's in the distant future, but it's so far in the future that it looks and feels like the ancient past. And
Future past, yeah.
yeah, so I was like, imagine an interstellar civilization that's built off of the aesthetic is pure like Renaissance Baroque, um, cathedrals, basilicas, like massive starships that look like St. Peter's Basilica, and like are
Yeah, 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 yeah,
full of
yeah.
religious iconography, and like and I was imagining it like, instead of the space marines, you have like archangels that like 9 foot archangels that look like the sculptures in the basilica, like they look like
Oh, that'd be cool.
like
That's like power armor, or they yeah.
yeah, like like they look like big stone sculptures of angels with the wings and everything, but it's like I imagine them kind of literally like ripped from the Bible, almost like where they look like the engineers from Prometheus, how they have that face model that's based on Roman
Mhm.
sculpture. And just yeah, and then like having the combat is like, maybe it's like the idea was like, oh, it'd be cool if this was like so far in the future that we enter that as an intergalactic civilization, interstellar, we enter a second like biblical age where there's like the war between heaven and hell kind of thing, happening on a mass interstellar scale, where you have like,
Mm.
so it would be like a game where like you can play as one of the archangels, or you can play as a quote unquote a saint, which is like, I guess, a magic user. But the idea that you're yeah, it's like it's similar to Warhammer, where you're fighting like hordes of enemies, but instead of the Tyranids, the enemies you're facing are based on like Renaissance paintings, like depictions of hell. So like
Oh, that'd be cool, yeah.
yeah, even like if you reference like a Hieronymus Bosch, or but even just like some of the stuff you see in the Sistine Chapel when they show the demons of hell, and everything would be very Renaissance and like Baroque. And when I say that, what I mean is like the difference is that it would prioritize the anatomy and the beauty of the physique as like
Right.
the cornerstone of the design. So all the angels and demons would be built on these like Olympian types of bodies. And I don't know. I was just like, I was imagining it very clearly in my head. I know I probably need to draw it in order to make it understood, but
You know what weirdly kind of leans into that? It's nowhere near as cool as what you're describing. There's some weird enemy design in the concept art for the Bayonetta games that goes very Italian.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
It goes very let's see if I can find an example. It goes very Rome.
I'd love
But
to see
yeah,
what
I
you're
think
talking
I think
about.
you should I think you should totally do the concept art for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only way to really fully get across what I see in my head because what I see is very clear. Um, because like, yeah, no, I'm familiar with the Blood Angels, Sharky, and I think, I mean, I love Warhammer. I love their design. The difference is, here, let me bring up the Blood Angels. Make sure I before I say anything that I know what I'm talking about. Um,
Mhm.
but like the difference is that I imagined there'd be no like sense of bulk in the armor. Like it would be like um, the way that Warhammer makes it feel like, big, bulky, like power armor. I would love it if the angels, I was even thinking it wouldn't even be armor, that the angels are like, the idea is that it's this advanced future where everybody's like hyper religious. So they kind of genetically modify certain births to be quote unquote archangels so that they have these, this look of, and power of what we would perceive as an archangel, where they're like, massive, powerful, kind of beautiful looking, and maybe they have flight and all that stuff. So it would be more like you're like genetically designed, and I would definitely want to stay away from big bulky armor because that look is like so cornered by Warhammer. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
nobody else is going to do that.
and on that.
And from a design standpoint, that's not really what I'm interested in anyway. I like the Baroque look. I like, as far as what I like to draw, I like anatomy. So, but anyways, yeah, the concept art I was imagining like, these like really um, like very Renaissance style paintings, like big lush colors and like really like, and you have something that almost looks like it could be a Renaissance depiction of a Bible story, but then you have like a starship in the middle of it,
I
and
mean, you could just do your own versions of famous Renaissance biblical paintings and just keep the compositions and keep the characters, but make the new designs and make the new locations.
I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like for me that actually sounds much harder than just painting it. Um,
Sure.
I don't know because I've never been great with like photo manipulation bashing. Like that's probably something that's held me back in my career is that painting on top of a pre-existing image is something some people are really good at. I think for
Well, I
me,
don't even mean painting on top of it. I just mean copying the compositions.
oh sure, okay, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I would probably, I'm sure I'd be referencing a ton of this stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
It would be sick though if like the throne of St. Peter we were just looking at was the helm of like a ship.
that's
That's where the captain sits.
yeah,
That'd be fucking rad.
that's
Yeah.
literally what I'm talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be great.
and then I imagine like your hub in the game where you go to like your hub where you report back to your allies. The how in Warhammer you have that war station with the big hologram and all the space marines are talking,
Hmm.
and you have that huge bay window of the solar system. I was like, oh, it'd be really cool if we had that, but it was just like it was literally like a futuristic St. Peter's Basilica, where it's just this massive cathedral where everything's covered in marble, and maybe like there's a huge bay window behind the throne where you can see the star system, and you're talking to like, and I imagined all these archangels are like reporting to, the quote unquote, maybe the bishop or the cardinal or something, and it's like the military leader, but he looks like a Renaissance religious figure. Like I just think it visually be really fun. And when you come
You should
back,
design.
to your hub, it's like you enter and there's like, how Warhammer has that like the serene, Gregorian chant music and
Yeah,
yeah, that kind of thing.
you should design it out, dude.
You think so? You think it'd be a good use of time?
100%. I think it's an idea that you're passionate about, that you have the know how to do, and that anything that you can already clearly see in your head without having, like, you seem like you have a pretty clear vision of it, usually means it's a strong idea.
Yeah.
So, like, I would say, do one and see how it feels. If it feels good, do another one and just go from there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's worth it.
I appreciate that, man. I mean, I think I would want to start. Do you think it's better to start with the concept art for the characters first and then build the scenes afterwards, or what would you do?
I wouldn't get too. I wouldn't go into storyteller mode and start building a story with characters right away. I would just start drawing the ideas you have. Draw the ideas for the armor, the angels, the ships. Like, get like a little visual Bible going, and then if you have ideas for story, write them down and come back to that later. But I wouldn't get bogged down in building a narrative. I would just explore the aesthetic.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the right direction.
Because I think if you I think you're the type of person, type of creator where if you start focusing on the narrative and you're gonna you're gonna feel pressure to, okay, this has to be a book now, and how long is it gonna be, and this is another project I got to do, and I think
Hmm.
it's gonna start heavy, and that's gonna make it less fun.
Yeah,
So I would just explore the aesthetic and try to make like a style guide or like a visual bible for the IP, and
yeah.
then if you want to do a narrative with it, would come back to it later.
No, I think you're right, man. I think that's a really cool way to. I mean, because it is like when I was picturing what the project would be, I'd be like, oh, I want to treat it like Dinotopia, where you just do like
Mm.
a series of really fun illustrations and you build the world based on the images, and it's kind of like
Yeah,
a sandbox so other people can come in and play. Um,
I wish more people did that. The Dinotopia, I mean, some people have tried, but I wish more of those were successful, where it's just an art book exploring a world that doesn't exist.
yeah, yeah,
Those are very cool.
and the narrative is a little bit thin. Like the narrative is meant to be a little bit like relaxed because it's more about just like what you, the reader, build up in the art, what you see.
Mhm.
Like it doesn't have
Have
a.
you ever
Sorry, go ahead.
go? No, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say like it doesn't if it didn't have a central story yet. It's just more like this is the world of this and like enjoy walking around this.
Yeah. Have you ever tried to watch the old Dinotopia show?
No, I haven't. Tell me about it.
It's not good.
Oh, that's shocking.
That's really all I can say. But it's worth watching if you want to have a good laugh. I feel so bad for Gurney because, like, man, it's an idea that you might be able to do now, but it's so funny watching them try to tackle it in the '90s.
What did they do? What was the funniest
It's
part of it? Like I want to
I'm
know.
not gonna spoil a thing. I want you to go in. I want you to go in blind on this one. This is like if you've never seen the '90s D&D movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. You shouldn't warn
Just
someone
go
about
in.
that.
Yeah. Just go in. Enjoy it.
Because I used to love those
Yeah.
books. Did you collect Antopia? Like the I used to think those were beautiful.
I found it late. I didn't know about Dinotopia until I started studying James Gurney in art school. And then I was like, oh, I know this guy. I've seen his work in like National Geographic and stuff. And then I found Dinotopia after that. And I was like, oh, okay. And I like found all these cool paintings he had done.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, I somehow missed Dinotopia as a kid. I never I think I might have seen it at like a Scholastic book fair or something. I think maybe I might have encountered it once and I didn't know what it was.
Well, I mean, you were probably distracted by the king of the Scholastic Book Fair from the 90s, and I'm pretty
Mm,
sure you know what I'm going to say, but Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark,
yeah,
which
100%.
just ruled that world for like a solid decade.
Talk about having an empire.
Say it again.
Talk about having an empire.
Oh my god, yeah.
The
It's
IMC Book Festival.
yeah.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark had that market cornered.
I want to find is that artist still alive who drew those covers and those illustrations for those books?
I don't know, but that would be a great interview.
Oh yeah, like if I brought him on.
Yeah,
Oh shit, I didn't even think of that. That's brilliant. I was gonna say
that'd be
I
cool.
wanted them to do a like a variant cover for Black Mirror,
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, yeah.
but that's a really good idea to bring them on and be like, "Can I talk to you?"
You know, you could probably get to talk to is Mike Butkus. He'd probably talk to you.
Oh, this is gonna sound terrible. Who's Mike Butkus? I feel like I might know him.
He's the other Drew Struzan, basically. He did all the very realistic portraits for a bunch of stuff from like Shadows of the Empire to like the Indiana Jones spin-off stuff to like all the rides at Universal. He's like a hyper realism Drew Struzan esque kind of dude who's worked on basically every IP like ever.
I actually am embarrassed because I do know who that is. I just didn't know. I couldn't remember the name.
Yeah,
Um,
everyone's seen their work. Like
yeah,
it's just crazy how good his stuff is. But yeah, he's a very personable guy, very fast talker, very high energy, but a very nice dude.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
It's just very funny. Like I remember early on in when Dave was getting real serious in his career, he just reached out to him on a whim, and Mike was like, yeah, call me. And they just gave him his number and they just talked on the phone forever.
That's cool as hell.
I was like, what a cool dude. Like
Yeah,
what an awesome thing to do.
that's how Steven Zapata kind of was. Um,
Yeah.
and I know Steven's popular. I know he's probably not quite, doesn't have quite as much, like people clamoring for his attention as Mr. Buckus, but like, but he's pretty up there in his popularity. And
Yeah.
when I reached out to him, he was so nice because I even said like, hey, listen, I'm a professional, but I know I'm not at your level of popularity, and I know that it's like I have like 2,000 people on my YouTube channel. But if you want to come on and talk to me, I'd love to, talk art with you and hear about your projects. And he was so gracious. He was like, yeah. He's like, when do you want to talk? I was like, oh, great. I thought it was gonna be more of a
Yeah.
negotiation,
That's awesome.
because there's a
Anyone listening, never make it. That's how you should be. Because that's everybody should stay humble and be personable and be kind. Like that's exactly that's so good to hear.
yeah. And when we were, he was so nice, man. When we were before we started recording, um, he'd like, hey, he's like, before we start, I want to let you know I read some of Black Mirror. He's like you really drew the hell out of that book. And I was like, oh, thanks, man. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
I like blushed. I was like, oh, cool, man, I'm so glad you like. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, you're really good. He's like, I can't believe I haven't heard of you. I was like, oh man, thank you for that.
Super nice.
Yeah, that is a very nice thing for him because he didn't have to say that. He could have just been like, yeah, it was good, or say
Yeah,
nothing, but he just wanted me to know. He wanted me to know that it was good and that I did a good job, which is nice
that's
because
awesome.
but yeah, that's how I would want to be, in that position. Um, it's got to be. I wonder though, when you get to that level, it's probably hard. I would imagine it's not always easy to be patient with people because you probably get so many more. You know.
It's tough. Like even when I'm not comparing myself to any of these people. This is just an example by way of comparison. When me and Dave were doing the contests in Crimson Daggers and we were doing the you know the 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 challenges, at the end of it, it had gotten so big that we were getting like anywhere from 200 to 400 entries,
Mm-hmm.
and
Damn.
we didn't have the time to review all of them in a
Sure.
thoughtful way and to like give people the feedback that they deserved for doing the work. And it started to feel disrespectful and like it didn't feel good
Mm-hmm.
to have so many people put that much energy into a thing and not give them the feedback that they deserve. So that's ultimately one of the reasons we stopped doing them, is because it got to a point where we were like, we can't be, this isn't fair to you guys anymore, because it's not, we don't have enough time to give you what you guys deserve.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember.
But yeah, I think it's similar to that, where you get to a certain point, you probably have so much stuff in your inbox. It's like, what do you even do? Like, is it nicer to answer the ones you can and ignore the ones you can't, or is it nicer to just say, hey, I can no longer do this? Like, it's a tough call.
Yeah. I mean, this is gonna sound really funny, but someone I've been kind of modeling, and it's been helping. I've been modeling my some of my career off of, and this is gonna sound really funny, is Dane Cook,
Oh, tell me why.
because he was in an interview years ago, and I remember listening to this when I was like right when I was getting into comics. It was right after I quit boxing, where I was like, okay, I'm done.
Mhm.
I'm done fighting for a living. I'm doing this now. And I listened to this interview with Dane Cook about his early career, and it was basically like he was talking about how when he was first doing shows, he can you hear me? Okay, I put the mic down. I hope you can
Yeah, I
hear
can
me.
hear you.
Okay, he was like, it was crazy. He was saying in the beginning he had no fans. He had
Mhm.
nobody knew him. So what he did was he would do a show, and anyone who wanted to talk to him afterwards, he would come up to them, let them come up to him anywhere in the parking lot, behind, off stage, and he would talk to every single person. He would be super friendly. He would learn their names, and then he would get their email addresses, and then he would and this is the early days of email, when it was like, you probably, I don't even know if you could CC people back then. You probably could, but he would individually email them and let them know when he was back in town doing a show.
Whoa,
And he would like keep in contact with those first fans for years, where he was like,
that's crazy.
he would basically treat them like they were his only friends or whatever. And in
That's
doing that,
awesome.
the reputation of like how personable he, and then like, because then those guys brought their wives, their girlfriends, their buddies, because they were like, yeah, he's a friend of mine, you know, because he was so friendly that it was like, yeah, I mean, like, I feel like I know him, and I want to support him because he was just so nice, and he was so enthusiastic to meet people, and it was like that was how he modeled his career in the beginning.
That's
And
so funny.
and so I literally think about that every time someone DMs me and is like, "Hey, you probably won't answer this, but where can I get a copy of the book? I missed the Kickstarter." I'll like write them a whole paragraph and like I'll learn their name. Like I just because because it's fun and I know it can be exhausting to do that, but it's like I want them to remember that moment that I was like that because that meant a lot to me when people treated me that way, you know?
Yeah,
Um, like when I met Adam Hughes, I'm not again, let me reiterate what Dan's saying. I'm not putting myself on the level of Adam Hughes, okay? He's a comics legend, but like when I met him, he had no pretense at all. He was just like,
that's great.
you know, it was a little awkward because I realized I was not giving a good conversation in my end because all I had was praise and I could tell it was a little uncomfortable, you know?
Yeah,
he was
yeah,
he was like, yeah, so you get you draw comics. I was like, yeah, I'm just starting off, and then I would just tell him how much I loved everything he did, and he would be like, oh, thank you. And then he would just stare at me like, is there something else you wanted to say, or like, that. And I was
that's
like,
so funny.
oh shit, I'm making this so awkward because I didn't even prepare to talk to him like a human being. I just wanted to tell him how much I loved the way he draws like Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? It's just like really stupid.
Great.
Yeah. So.
The only the only comparison I have to that, I mean, obviously running a Kickstarter, I responded to all 6,000 people that emailed us, which took forever. But
Hell
but
yeah,
um
dude.
the only comparison I have to that is like when I used to teach at AI, well, teach when I used to lecture at AIB, I would do three. I would do a beginning of semester lecture for incoming freshmen on what to expect from not only art school but an art career and what you will get out of art school versus what you will not get out of art school and like just the realism of it, the hard truths basically. Then I would do an end of semester lecture for the outgoing seniors. So incoming freshmen, then outgoing seniors. That one would include a full portfolio review and recommendations on where to start looking for work and next steps after graduation. And then I would do one in the midterm for both, where it was just a presentation on the types of jobs you can get right now and places that are hiring and things like that.
Okay.
And the outgoing senior one was always funny to me because they'd call and they'd be like, "Hey, we're thinking of doing it on this day. Can you come?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." They go, "Okay, what do you want to do?" And I'd say, "Okay, I want to give every student half an hour because I want to adequately look at all their work. I want
Mm-hmm.
to be able to tell them where to start networking, who to talk to, and stuff like that." And they'd be like, "Okay, well, we have 16 students in this graduating illustration class." And I'm like, "Okay, then I need 8 hours."
Oh my god.
Because I'm not gonna give people 5 minute critiques on their future. I'm not gonna tell people I'm not gonna cram that into 5 minutes and be like, good luck with your life. Like that's not gonna. I need at least half an hour for every student. So
Yeah, no, that's
I
reasonable.
would go in at 9 in the morning and we would be there the entire day. Like I would just tell them like, listen, I need you to get coffee. I need coffee and some kind of like fruit or something for them to be able to munch, just something. Because we're gonna be there. You can tell them to come by appointment if you want, or that usually more often than not they would all stay for the whole thing.
Hmm.
But those were like sometimes 9, 10 hour marathons. It is just so funny.
That's awesome though, man. But that's a lot of stamina, like socially.
It was interesting. It was fun. I haven't done one in a while because they kind of after or during COVID they had to let all their adjuncts go because their budget got so weird during the pandemic.
Sure.
But I used to do them every year and it was man, those were fun. But they were long days.
Yeah.
Very, very long days. But some of them have gone very pro and it's really cool to see them doing stuff.
I didn't know you were doing like lectures and essentially you were teaching. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I taught at a few colleges as a guest lecturer. They offered me full time at a couple places, but if you don't have a master's degree, the pay for a full time professor is shockingly low. If you like, they offered me three classes. I would have to be there 4 days a week, and I'd have to keep office hours. And I think the pay was like under 10 grand for a semester.
Wow.
It was like, and I had to commute to Boston to do it in Cambridge, and it was like, no, I'll take the lecture fee, and I'll come up 3 days a month. It was weird because like 1,500 per lecture, three lectures, 4,500, 3 days, or on just under 10 grand for the whole semester. Like, it made no sense.
Yeah, that is bizarre. Why would they even try to? How does it
It was
even
very
work?
weird. then if you had a degree in the thing you were teaching, the pay
Mhm.
went up to like 40 grand. It was like stupidly higher. But
That's a little
but yeah.
lopsided though.
Yeah, very weird. So I just took the lecturing and yeah, I did that for a while at a couple schools in Boston. But yeah, that was fun. It was
Wow.
always a good time. It was always fun to go in and day one for the incoming freshman be like, art school won't get you a job. You don't need to be here. No one's gonna care if you have a degree. Like that was always the funny one.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure you got to see their expressions change, get real pale.
Yep. Yep.
I honestly wish someone had had that talk with me because I mean, so I maybe this is not good to share publicly, but just because financial information is always a little sticky. But I just finished paying off my student loans like a month or two ago, like right before our vacation.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All like I was in serious debt for many years, and then I think doing comics,
Yeah.
ironically, is like the thing that helped me pay it off. Because everybody says there's no money in comics, and then here we are. But not to say that I'm like making a shit ton, but like enough that I could pay off this enormous debt that I had, and I was just realizing like how much of my life was affected by it for years and years to the point where I didn't think I was going to be able to pay it off, and it was all for an education that I didn't need to do the job that I'm doing.
Hmm.
Because I didn't even go to school for illustration. It wasn't even like I went for something tangentially related to my field. I went for fine art, drawing, and painting, which
Yeah.
has almost nothing to do with what I do.
Yeah.
To the
Yeah.
point where the fine art field is rather contemptuous of what I do. And I learned
Hmm.
that. I learned that pretty early on. That if you like fantasy art and comics and stuff, it's like,
The word commercial has a stigma to it for a lot of the fine art crowd.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're not doing it for passion, you're doing it for a paycheck, and I'm better than you because I live in squalor. And it's like, okay, well, like it's
Yeah.
very weird. It's the Don Draper scene when he's talking to the hippies.
Oh
It's
my
like
god, one of my favorite scenes
it's
in the whole
literally
series.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Where they're like, selling was it buying products doesn't solve anything, and he says
Yeah.
neither does walking around Penn Station pretending to be a vagrant. It's like holy
Yeah.
shit, it's so good.
How do you sleep at night on a bed made of money? It's just it's such a good scene. But yeah, that's how it always felt talking to the fine art crowd at art school.
Well,
But
it's
yeah.
also it's a load of BS because I don't know. It's a false dichotomy. Like there's no like I was like looking at it. I promise I am more passionate about comics than they ever were about their fucking abstract paintings. Like,
Sure.
I love what I'm doing way more than they love what they're doing, and the evidence is that I'm the only one still doing it. Like
Hmm.
all those people that were so condescending to me, they're all working bullshit jobs now that have nothing to do with art.
Yep.
They're all just and it's like not to toot my own horn or anything, but like I made this happen for myself because I worked at it and because it's a field that earns like it's an important medium. It's I think culture is important. I think art's important. Sure, it's also like there's no inherent virtue in poverty, and that's something that people need to let go of.
Yeah.
Being poor
Yeah.
does not bring you closer to any like cosmic truth. It's
It's an
not.
aesthetic. Yeah.
It's an aesthetic. Okay, yeah, that's a good way to put
Yeah.
it.
It's
Yeah.
an aesthetic. Unless you're an actual Buddhist, it's an aesthetic. And I mean a real Buddhist. I don't mean like
Yeah.
someone who says they're I mean unless you're an actual Buddhist, it's just an
Yeah.
aesthetic.
You don't mean Maggie Gyllenhaal from Away We Go, where she's just like,
No, I don't. They're
she,
exploring that. Oh man, this new season of White Lotus has been really good so far. They're exploring that whole real Buddhism versus fake Buddhism and some of the characters. It's funny.
oh, I'm sure it's great. Yeah. Malka, she really likes White Lotus. I watched a little bit of it with her and the second season. And I was
Yeah.
like, I could recognize the quality of the show. Like it's obviously very well written.
Mhm.
It just wasn't for me. Like that there's a particular thing of like
Yeah.
let's watch rich people be terrible, like that vibe,
Yeah.
which I get like that's a necessary critique, but I was just like I'm not enjoying this. I was like, um, but yeah, I would imagine that their critique of the like fake Buddhist
Yes.
is probably really great.
There's an amazing scene by that just came out in the most recent episode by
Mhm.
fuck, what's his name? Villain in Iron Man, Sam Rockwell, Iron Man 2.
Yeah, yeah,
Sam Rockwell. Moon, another great movie he's in.
yeah.
Um there's a monologue in that most recent episode by him that comes so far out of left field and is so fucking funny, and he delivers it so deadpan seriously
Yeah.
that even if you don't watch the show, I would recommend everybody go watch that monologue.
I mean, Sam Rockwell, I think, is one of the. He's one of. I don't want to say underrated because I think everybody knows he's good,
Hmm.
but I don't think people acknowledge like he is a comedic genius.
He's great, dude. This speech he gives takes so many left turns. It, and it's like all one take, and it's like deadly seriously delivered. It's not a joke, and it's so insane the stuff he's saying. It's great.
Can I ask? No spoilers, but what is the lecture about generally? Like, what is its prompt?
I mean, I can't without spoilers. If you don't mind, I can give you the quick version, but it's
Sure.
unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, well,
So
yeah. Whatever you're comfortable
anyone who
doing.
doesn't want to know, yeah, anyone who doesn't want to know, don't listen to this part. But basically, Walton Goggins is like, so why'd you come to Thailand? And he's like, oh, I always had a thing for Asian chicks. And then he's like, so then I started getting addicted to sex and I was fucking all these Asian chicks. And then it goes into, after about 1,000 Asian chicks, I realized that I might actually just want to be an Asian chick. So then I started hiring Asian guys and I started dressing up like Asian chicks.
Whoa.
But then I realized I didn't want to be an Asian chick either. I wanted to be myself fucking an Asian chick who was me. I wanted to fuck myself as I wanted to be the giver and the receiver. So now I hire Asian lady boys to fuck me while I look into the eyes of other Asian chicks and I say, I am you and you are me. And I become one with them. And it just starts going off the rails in these insane, it's nuts. It goes to such an insane place. He doesn't break character once. There's no hint of laughter.
Yeah.
He is so deeply serious about what he's saying. And it's this whole thing of like, I wanted to fuck myself and be fucked by myself. And I realized that, maybe on the inside I want to be both. And like, that's not master. It's so good. It's
Well,
so good.
I mean, who can argue with
Insane.
that? That sounds really wholesome.
It's nuts. Like even if you don't watch the show, go listen to it.
Yeah. I mean, I can't pass that up. That sounds crazy.
It's very good. Walton Goggins is sitting across from him the whole time, just smiling, like, yeah, you
Yeah.
don't say. Like, oh,
Like,
it's so good.
oh, Edgar, you shouldn't be listening to Edgar's in my chat. Edgar's 13. Edgar, why are you here? Go to bed.
Oh no,
Get out of
what
here.
have I done? What have I done?
Uncle Dan strikes again.
Don't watch White Lotus. It's above your age demographic.
Yeah. Also, don't watch White Lotus because, yeah, well, actually, for the reason Dan said, that covers it. I was like,
Yes.
I'm not going to get into specifics. But
Also, Sam Rockwell, first movie role, maybe I'm wrong. The Ninja Turtles movie from 1990.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He's in the Foot Clan.
Yeah, I know. I remember. I'm going to do his exact dialogue. You ready? He goes, we got a loyalty to the Shredder. He says, we're a
Very
family.
good.
And then
Very good.
and then Casey Jones says, family? You call this there and this over there family? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I think that
I'll do another line from
Please,
him.
please.
I like that we both have lines from him memorized. Anything you want, take it. Anything you want to do it. And then the kid says, you got cigarettes? And he goes, regular,
or al dente.
a menthol.
Oh, menthol. Sorry. Yeah, not al dente.
Yeah. So
And
good.
he hands him the 2 huge boxes of cigarettes. When I was
Giant boxes. And then that song comes on and goes, this is what we do. It's my body. It's my body. That whole I could recite that whole movie, start to finish.
I was today years old when I realized that was essentially Pinocchio.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
realized it. I just realized it
Yep.
right now.
Well, yep.
That's
Looked like a big turtle in a trench coat. You going to LaGuardia? That movie's incredible. That movie is so good.
It's really great. Did you see the Red Letter Media episode about it? Where they
Yep.
talk about it, the review?
It's like the first big successful comic book adaptation.
Yeah. No, and
It was,
that. Sorry, go on.
it was essentially an indie movie.
Yeah. Yeah, off the '80s comics boom and all that stuff, and they were saying how if you look at the movie, you can kind of see that it was going to be a much that like there's evidence of a darker film in there, and then they added some goofy elements because apparently the producers saw the dailies and were like, you gotta lighten this up a bit. They were like, this is really So you
It's
get
pretty dark, even with the light stuff. That first one is pretty dark.
yeah. I mean, like not just visual. There is a visual darkness to it. Like it has a great gritty murkiness to it that I love.
Yeah.
But also even like the scene where Raphael gets like ganked by by the Shredders by the Foot Clan,
Hmm.
and when they drop him through the ceiling. That fight scene was initially apparently supposed to be like really like all the turtles fighting like this like anger, this like they're defending their brother, which would have been narratively much more appropriate, but instead they start adding goofy sound effects like boink and all that stuff because
Hmm.
that was decided apparently in production that the producers were like, you gotta, this is too scary for kids,
Yeah.
which is like it's funny because they never understood kids, because like I was 7 when I saw that, and I remember as a kid being like way into the dark action elements and like not really afraid, because I think the movie has a kind of, it's fun enough that you're not, it's not The Exorcist, but it's
Yeah.
the Shredder's scary, but it's like the turtles are funny and hilarious and cool and stuff. So like, yeah, but I that's why, in my opinion, that's one of the best comic book movies ever made, and not enough people talk
I
about it.
agree. I totally agree. It's probably my favorite comic book adaptation,
Yeah, really.
but I'm also because as a kid, I watched it every day.
It's
I love that movie. I love how the balance of darkness and humor. I love that there's actually stakes. I love that they hurt the characters. One of them almost dies. I
yeah,
love that Shredder gets killed in a trash compactor.
yeah.
It's so awesome.
I
Casey Jones is so perfect in that movie.
Casey Jones in that movie is so, yeah, I agree. Broken Blade is just, he's just yassing us, and I agree. Yes, it's awesome.
Mhm.
It's so good. Casey Jones, I the scene where he meets okay, the voice acting, like Raphael, the voice for Raphael is so
Yeah.
fucking good.
I lost a sigh.
Yeah, when he
So
goes,
good.
when yeah, damn, and he screams, and like
Yep.
when Splinter, when he comes back to Splinter, and Splinter like puts his hand on his head, and like, and you see the tear in his eye, and he's talking about how like of all of your brothers, you're the only one who chooses to face things alone. And that was really
Man.
meaningful to me, because I had two brothers growing up, and I always had more of a chip on my shoulder than the others, and I hated myself for it. I was like, why am I so mad all the time, and like, so seeing that scene where he's like, yeah, you're the brother who just came out mad all the time. Like, you just have that in you. And it was because that's like, I love that about Raphael. I love that it's like his whole character is like, he just has an anger problem, and he has, I mean, that's, oversimplifying it, but the idea that he's just like, he just has something in him where he just wants he's very conflict oriented, and it causes him pain, like he doesn't know where to put that energy sometimes. Like, that's something I think a lot of young guys can relate to, like a lot of boys, because like you kind of have a lot of
Mhm.
pent up shit. And yeah, no, I thought the voice acting of everyone is just perfect. I think Casey Jones is like the actor. I never remember his name who plays Casey Jones, but he deserved so much
He's
attention.
great.
Even the
Yeah,
lady who plays
he's
April is great. Sorry.
he's fantastic. And all the I think it's Jim Henson, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I want to say it's Jim Henson, and the lack of Jim Henson is felt in the sequels for sure.
Oh my God, is it ever? Yeah, cricket. You got to know what a crumpet is to understand
Cricket,
cricket.
yeah, it's great.
So
His
good. It's
body
not a Jose
language,
Canseco bat.
his body
It's so
language when he
good.
says it, like Raphael's body language is so good. Like, he's so like New York. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, same. Broken Blade. Raph is my favorite. Oh, Edgar, you haven't seen it? You got to see it. You're at the perfect age to watch it for the first time too.
It's so good. It's like a perfect movie. There's no fat on that movie that I would trim at
No,
all.
it's an hour and 40 minutes of just pure entertainment. Um,
I used to, man, when I worked at the Greek pizza place I used to work at, I used to quote that line all the time where he'd open the box and go, "Question, do you like penicillin on your pizza?" Da, 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 da.
yeah.
So good.
And that was this Corey Haim, no, Corey Feldman as
Yeah.
Michelangelo, which is just. Have you ever read The Last Ronin?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna recommend this to you. I have a copy of it. I'll give it to you. It's a comic book where Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, or I think actually maybe just one of them came back, but the original creator came back, one of them anyway, to do essentially a Dark Knight Returns for the Ninja Turtles,
Oh, cool.
and it's called The Last Ronin because all of the turtles are dead except one,
Hmm.
and he's an old man, and he wears a black headband. So for most of the story, you don't know, or at least for the part of the story, you don't know which of the turtles he is, who's the surviving turtle.
I'm guessing it's Raphael.
Well, I'm going to spoil. All right, everybody ready? If you don't want to be spoiled, don't listen to this. It's actually Michelangelo,
Oh, cool.
which I absolutely love because he was the youngest of the four, and he was the most playful and the humor, and he was like the
Sure.
light one. And now that the others are dead, he's kind of like this really intense old guy who's like who feels like he's obligated to avenge his brothers because he was always too young to understand the importance of what they were doing. It's really well
I'd
written.
read. Yeah, I'd read that for sure.
It's really good, and it's written by the original one of the original writers. So it's got that flavor. Um, but it's cool. It's like future New York is run by the Foot Clan basically, and he's like the last rebel killing them off, and where he can. And um, but the art's pretty good. I thought the art was okay. I mean, as a comic art guy, I'm like a little more critical of comic art than some. A lot of people thought it was great. I thought it was pretty good. There were some parts of
Mhm.
it, but but yeah, no, it's a really entertaining comic. It's just it reads a lot like a Frank Miller book, which is I think by design. It's like very like 90s Frank Miller, where it's just lots of action and pathos, and um,
It's funny because I don't know if you ever read any of the old Ninja Turtles comics that
mhm.
Eastman did, but that movie is essentially like some of the comics are like storyboards for that movie. Like the shots are like almost exact and the dialogue's almost exact.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything on the farm, everything from April's old antique shop burning down, the whole fight where Raphael loses, all that stuff is like directly lifted from the comic very, very faithfully.
yeah. And I mean, you've seen the interview with I think it was I don't know if it was Eastman or Laird, maybe it was both of them, where they were just like, I can't believe that they basically took the comic and they adapted it so faithfully. They're like, this is I could not have made it more close to what I imagined than what they did.
Yeah, it's nuts. I think I can't remember. It's been a while since I've read it. I think
Mm-hmm.
the only character they added was like they replaced Shredder with Tetsu in some of them. Like
Oh yeah,
when they burned down April's place, I think Shredder's supposed to be there, but yeah, it's just great. Really, really, really good. I love that version of Splinter too, where he's not a guy that got bit by a radioactive rat or whatever the fuck it is in the cartoon.
yeah, I agree.
I love that it's just I'm a guy who is a rat, and I saw my martial arts master kept me in a cage, and then I have to avenge him. I love that.
I like that too because I think it leans into the absurdity of it in a way that's actually feels it feels more emotionally resonant than just like I was a man, but who became a rat like that. I like the
Yeah,
idea of a rat, like an animal that you would overlook, but that in some parts of the East, I know that some people consider them sacred animals. So the idea
yeah,
that this guy kept a rat who witnessed his death and like feels loyal, it's just I don't know, it's cool. I love the idea also of an animal in a cage learning martial arts by watching a guy do it.
yeah. It's dope.
It's a fun idea. Yeah, I agree.
I
I
love Do you think so? Actually, I don't know this because I haven't read all the old Turtles comics. Are Rocksteady and Bebop a creation of the cartoon, or were they in the Eastman comics?
I don't really actually remember that. I know that someone addressed it recently. I know this guy Razor Fist did a video on it where he was talking about because he's a big Turtles guy and he was describing all the changes that were made. I know that one of them, I think it might be Eastman, was never a big fan of Bebop and Rocksteady because he was the one who was really into the the
Mm.
crime drama, like kind of daredevil aspect of it. I think, and yes, Gross Girl, we're talking about the original TMNT with Jim Henson's amazing.
Because I'll never forget the supreme disappointment as a kid when they're like, "There's going to be a Ninja Turtles 2," and then it comes out and it's Toka and Ryzar and not Rocksteady and Bebop, and you're like,
I
like
I
why?
had the exact same emotion. I remember being
What are
like,
we doing here? Like, what are we
yeah,
doing? Yeah.
yeah. But I also thought Toka and Razor were the coolest looking monsters.
I
I
mean, they were sick in their own right, but come on, you get a sequel, play the hits. But I'm assuming it's because they didn't have the rights to those characters because those characters are probably a creation of Funimation. I don't know who did
yeah,
the
yeah,
cartoon.
it might be. And they probably blew their budget on Vanilla Ice.
True, which was a very good call.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's super memorable.
Go Ninja Go. How could you ever forget?
I'll be honest. I don't even know if I'm being ironic by saying that I think it was worth the money. I don't even know if I'm joking when I say that because I genuinely love that scene, but I know it's not good.
And they set up so many weird little things like I always thought the scientist in that movie isn't Baxter, right? He's just a scientist who should be Baxter.
Yeah, he has a different name.
But he's got like the bow tie and the glasses and everything, but they're like, it's not Baxter. And then there's like hints that there might be like Metalhead might show up, but he never does. And it's like, what are we doing? Like,
You think a lot of things probably changed in production? Do you imagine that that's what happened?
I feel like they wanted to make a movie with a bunch of stuff from the cartoon and they couldn't get the rights and they had to change it at the last minute because there's a lot of weird little seeds in there. Like even Super Shredder's there for what, 3 seconds? And then he
Yeah,
gets a peer dropped on him.
yeah. I remember being. I
But
was disappointed how quickly that fight ended when I was a kid because I was like, "Oh, this is awesome," and then it's just like, you
the
don't.
build up with no payoff.
Yeah, he looks so scary too. When I was a kid,
Yeah.
I had a nightmare about Super Shredder, like punching through my wall like the Kool Aid Man.
Yeah.
So frightening.
I just remember like the Ninja Turtles movie and Double Dragon were both really solid adaptations.
Yeah,
And then nothing else really was. They kept trying. They got close with Street Fighter. It was good in a campy way, but yeah.
a movie that I. Okay, so when we first met, you asked me what was something that I a guilty pleasure,
Mhm.
and I didn't really have a good answer at the time. We both agreed Kingdom of Heaven was kind of a guilty pleasure because it's like kind of
Yep.
because it's kind of a mess of a movie, but it's still like a fairly sophisticated film.
Yeah.
A real guilty pleasure I have is Surf Ninjas.
Oh yeah. Okay. That's a guilty pleasure for sure.
Yeah, I
Surf
mean
Ninjas is great.
it's really fun. It always puts me in a good mood. It's one of those movies that it's like this is really dumb and it makes me smile because I remember seeing it when I was a kid. Obviously, the nostalgia, but it's
Mm.
also just like watching Rob Schneider, of all people, hang out with
I forgot Rob Schneider was in it. I haven't seen it in so long.
yeah, Rob Schneider is like the one white guy in the movie who's just
That's
there to be a
so
joke.
fucking funny.
And the guy in it, I think Eddie Reyes Jr. is the guy from Ninja Turtles 2 who plays the kid, the pizza delivery kid who does martial
Yep.
arts.
Yep.
Who, if anyone wants some movie trivia, he got his start in a little movie called The Last Dragon, where he was like 10 years old in that.
That's so funny.
The Last Dragon, starring, I forgot the name of the actor, but he plays the very famous Bruce Leroy. And
Did you have a favorite go-to movie as a kid? Was there one above all?
yeah, probably. Wow, I feel like it probably changed every year.
Mine was definitely Ninja Turtles.
I think Ninja Turtles is probably it. Yeah, I mean, I think the other one was Tim Burton's original '89 Batman film.
That's a good one too, yeah.
Yeah, I think I watched that so much.
My
Uh,
parents were afraid that that movie was too scary for me. I remember that as a kid.
it is scary. It's a scary movie.
Yeah.
The sequel, fucking Batman Returns, is terrifying.
Yeah.
when you're 6, 7 years old and you see Danny DeVito as the Penguin, you will shit bricks. He's so scary. He
It
bites that
opens
dude's
with a
nose off.
couple like essentially killing their baby is the opening
Oh
scene.
yeah,
They throw their baby in a river. It's fucking Pee Wee Herman.
because yeah, why? Because his hands are weird.
Yeah,
Well, no, he does eat a cat. I remember that. They like
true.
give him a pet cat and then he like eats it. But it's that is something that would not be made now, where you like
Yeah.
take a physical disability and you turn it into like, oh, he was a monster. It's like, holy shit, that's
Yep.
so fucked up. It's like
Also, I like that version of the Penguin more than I'm a rich guy. Like I don't know.
I
I
agree.
think it's maybe because I saw it as a kid, but I like the Penguin being kind of a freaky dude. I think that's cooler.
Yeah, I agree that that version is way better than just he's a corrupt businessman.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think that okay, so that's an instance where Tim Burton's his tendencies work out.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes I was thinking about this and I actually wanted to bring this up with you, so I'm glad it came up. Is that I feel like do you feel like there's a problem with directors who they certain themes are so important to them that they can't help but keep making the same movie in some ways?
Oh, yeah, that's a huge problem. Tim Burton's definitely one of them.
Yeah, like everything is about an outcast who's not welcomed by
Yeah.
people in the suburbs, you know?
He's been making Edward Scissorhands for 30 years.
Yeah, and I love Edward Scissorhands, but but like And I think Guillermo del Toro kind of does the same thing, where it's like his heart is with the outcast. I get that, but then it's like I just feel like, um, I feel like I mean, he's not quite as redundant as Tim Burton. I think he's
Even James Gunn,
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
we're outcasts and we're gonna have a found family because we're outcasts. And it's like, okay, like
yeah,
I've seen you do this like 6 times.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, no, it's and I don't know why they get a certain catharsis out of it, and I
Yeah.
just, but I would be so self-conscious if I was a filmmaker of like essentially telling the same story again and again because it just feels good to the point where I'll take a pre-existing character and like bend them to fit my thing, my
Mhm.
tendency. I don't it bothers me because so like Hellboy, I think you've read some of the comics, right? A little bit here and
Yeah,
there.
very, very few, but I am familiar with them.
I've been rereading a lot of Hellboy, and my goodness, is it good? and
Yeah.
and I like the movies. I saw the movies first. I think they're good. I think they're fun. I think they have some nice elements. I think they're beautiful to look at. But Guillermo del Toro's tendency to hit the same emotional notes of like I'm an outcast, not accepted by society type thing really gets in the way, in my opinion, of a really good adaptation because the actual character is to me so much more interesting. Like he's not someone who doesn't care. Like I like in the comics that he does not like I'm looking to be loved by the world, like how they do that in the
Right.
movies. In the comics, it's like he exists in a world where he's not almost like not that interesting to a lot of people because they work in a field where they're always looking at demons and witches and stuff. So he's just like,
Right.
and I like the fact that it almost doesn't come up that much that he's like a big red goblin. He's just another cop. He's just a guy.
When you read the comics, do you hear Ron Perlman? Or if not, who do you hear?
Yeah, no, Ron Perlman I think is a pretty good casting.
Okay.
I think he needed different direction because I think that they make him kind of like in the movie they kind of like play him off of Abe Sapien, where Abe Sapien's like the smart guy friend, and then Hellboy by juxtaposition.
So I think that entire dynamic is Han Solo and C3PO.
Oh yeah, kind of. Except the
Yeah.
only difference I'd say is that Han Solo like kind of hates C3PO,
Yes.
and you can feel like Hellboy and Abe Sapien actually really like each other. They get along pretty
Yeah.
well. But I agree with you that they like it's like Abe is the bookworm, so he's going to use big words and
Hellboy's gonna shoot the guy.
yeah, he's a big blocky
Yeah.
monster, and it's like in the comics he does have that blue collar speech, like he's
Mhm.
very frank and he's not highfalutin, but Mignola's writing is really good, and they keep reminding you like he's actually very smart and he's very sensitive. He just doesn't like he's kind of stoic, but he's got a lot of mercy in him. Like he encounters people who he could be worse to, but he's better. Like he's just like a really likable hero, and he's complex in ways that are really subtle. And it's not. It's like there's some comedy, but the comedy is much stranger in the comics. It's like there's this great scene. So I'm reading this version. Is it okay that I'm talking about this so much? I'm sorry. I hope it's okay.
Oh no,
I'm not.
yeah.
I'm not.
I actually have follow-ups. Yeah, go ahead.
So the one I'm reading right now is this volume where it's Hellboy trying to basically the Baba Yaga from the Russian fairy tales, the
Mhm.
witch. She has him trapped in her reality, and it's just like this endless snowy field with like mountains and cottages, and it's like this. It's almost like one of the levels of hell based on like ancient Russian myth,
Cool.
and he's encountering other beings from Russian mythology, and like he's like in this blizzard, and Hellboy goes into this cottage, and it's just this abandoned cottage, and he hears this this voice that keeps whispering to him, and he's like, "Who is that?" And the voice is like, "Get out! This is my house. Get out!" And he's like, "Is it a ghost?" And he realizes it's a tiny like goblin inside of the old fireplace, like an old cast iron stove fireplace,
Oh, cool.
basically the goblin is like from ancient Russian myth. It was like it was like a spirit that lived in your home,
That's great.
and so they base a character on it, and he's like, and it's this funny but also sad moment where the little goblin's like, yeah, the family that used to live here left like hundreds of years ago, but I can't leave, so all I have is this home. And then the two
Okay.
and then the two of them just kind of hang out for a bit, and it's just them sitting there and waiting out a blizzard and talking for a few minutes before he leaves. And then yeah, it's just great, and the character just kind of
I like those smaller moments in those
yeah,
types of comics better when they
yeah.
explore a thing and it's not some epic battle between him and some super famous thing. I like the weird little folklore
Me
things.
too. Yeah, same. I think it's
If
sorry, go on.
oh, go ahead.
I
No,
was
no,
I
no,
was going
you.
to say the last thing and then I'll shut up about it, guys. Is that I think that what Del Toro does not capture is that there's a lot of silence in the comics. There's like entire
Mm.
pages where he tells a bunch of things happening without any dialogue. He'll just show silent panels. He'll do a close up of a bird, a raven on a branch, and then he'll show like a dead body of like a skeleton, and then he'll show someone, and then he'll go back to the scene. And it's meant to make you feel the silence of like blood, of like Hellboy walking over the moors at night, and it's spooky, but it's also kind of relaxing, and it's like it's almost cozy fiction.
I need to read more of the Hellboy stuff. I admittedly, it's kind of a blind spot. I look at the art more than I've read them. I should dive into it.
I get that.
If you so question number one, how
Yes.
long do you think till they try to reboot Hellboy again after the last one failed? And question number two, if you rebooted it, what would you do with it?
Okay, so the you mean the one that just came out this year, right?
With the Stranger Things guy?
Yeah. Oh no, there was one afterwards already.
What?
Yeah, there was like a very small budget Hellboy movie, which apparently did pretty well for its budget.
Who's Hellboy?
It's an actor whose name I don't even know, but
It's live action?
yeah, yeah, and it's about him battling this. I think it's like a creepy witch on some little farm area. It's like a really,
What?
it's like a
I had no clue.
yeah. It wasn't really super advertised, and it was like Mignola himself, I think, said he had to raise the money to do it because of this. The last movie didn't do well, but it was great because he said it was more what he wanted to do was a small story, just having Hellboy fight a small threat and just kind of like
I didn't even know this was a thing. I gotta look this up.
yeah, it
It
wasn't
was
super.
2020.
Yeah, it was like 24, 25. It was either this year or directly behind this year. But I didn't see it, but I heard it was pretty good. People said it was actually like it was solid. Um,
Oh dang, the Crooked Man.
that was it. Yeah. And the guy from Stranger Things, whose name I can never remember, he actually I thought was really good casting. I just think the movie was not so great in its writing. Um,
Jeez. It sucks that in the 90s when I saw Mila Jovovich in something, I was like, that's gonna be good. And now when I see Mila Jovovich in something, I'm like, stay away from that.
oh yeah, well a lot of that's her husband's fault. Her and her husband, I should
Yeah.
say. He just keeps putting her in things without like, is she right for this role? I don't care. Put my wife in it. It's like,
All the people to play Morgan Le Fay. Like, what are we doing?
yeah. It's like just because someone is pretty and they can act doesn't mean that they like immediately you can cast them in any female role. Like,
Yeah.
because they don't do that with men. With men, it's like you got to have the. I mean, for the most part, you got to have the right look and the right feel.
Also,
You know.
when comics movies look like a comic movie and it's bad, when you're like this costume design feels like a bad 90s comic book. It's
Yeah.
like dumb.
Yeah.
Did you watch that Hellboy movie?
Did I watch the one with?
With the Stranger Things guy?
No, because the reviews were god awful. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do this.
Did you see what King Arthur looked like in that movie?
No.
Oh my god, dude.
Is it gonna make
One of
me
the
mad?
hold on.
It's gonna make me mad, isn't it? I'm ready for it. Let's do it.
It's it's one of the worst because you've seen what King Arthur looks like in the Hellboy comics, right?
Yeah, he's drawn like really. I mean, it's
It's
Mignola's awesome. Yeah.
perfect design.
Yeah.
It's great. Oh my god, I gotta find it. He
Almost done.
looks it's the most I'm in a comic book movie thing I've like ever seen.
I'm kind of
I
afraid to
I
look
hope
at
I
it.
can hope I can find it. His crown is like jarring. It's like, what are we doing here? It feels like the Warcraft movie or something.
Oh, I've never. I mean, no shade on Warcraft. I've never been a fan of that look in live action. It just.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay,
man.
here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let me open this up. It's like this is medieval Europe. We're doing this. We're doing this.
You got it up right now.
Hold on. I will throw it in your. You want me to throw it in my stream or in the chat
You can
with
put it
you?
in your stream. I got your stream on.
Okay, cool. Let me pull that up. I wish I could find a better picture of it, but it's like what is this helmet? What are we doing? Like, what's going on?
I'm waiting for the delay to catch up.
It's like bad fantasy, like really bad, like I'm in a comic book movie fantasy.
Oh no! What is
Yeah,
that?
it's real terrible. It's real bad.
That is like worse than what you'd get at a Renaissance fair, like a cheap.
Yeah, it's bad. It's also looks like it's like a Sauron helmet. Like it looks like a bad guy helmet.
And King Arthur looks like he just kind of looks like your friend Andy.
Yeah, he's none of the actors feel like they should be in movies. It's very weird. It's very the guy who plays Merlin is also like, what are we doing? Like, because this is King Arthur in the Hellboy comics. He looks great. It's like very good, very iconic, very simple. It's not overcomplicated.
I just realized if I were to, I want to create a thumbs up, thumbs down system for movies using Dan's vernacular, and it's either going to be very good or what are we doing?
Yes. Yeah, it's I don't know what, because that's my question. What are we doing? What's the
Yeah, no,
purpose of this?
I love it. I just feel like that's like how I would crystallize the binary of good and bad as Dan Warren would
Yeah.
state it. Yeah,
What is the point of this? What are we trying to convey with this design?
and
Like what?
you compare it to Mignola's art, and it's like it's painful. It's a painful comparison.
Feels like someone who knows nothing about any art history or design was told to draw a badass crown.
Well, that's what drives me crazy is the production note. Hey, can you make this more badass?
Make it badass.
Almost every time someone asks that, it makes it considerably less badass.
You want to do a spiky crown, there's ways to do it. There's like 30 years of video games that have done really good spike crowns. You don't just put spikes on a fucking helmet. Like, I don't, there's so many things you could have done, and it just looks awful.
Dan, do you mind dropping that in my chat? I'm sorry.
The live action?
Yeah. Because people are requesting it. I didn't screen cap it. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Hey, what's up, Weeds Art? Thanks for joining us, man. We got a good stream happening today. A lot of people are showing up.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. I need to.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
It's so ugly, and the actor. I mean, I know he's not. He's a nice looking man. It looks so awkward on him. Like I know.
Did that movie come out in 2019?
Wait.
Jesus.
The Hellboy movie with what's his face was 2019. That was 6 years ago.
I think so. Yeah.
Dude, time is moving too fast. I'm getting.
I might be wrong, but I think so.
I thought that was like 2022.
Let me check. I wish I could find a better picture of him. You should just watch the opening scene and see how fucking awful everything is. The vibe, the acting. Merlin's like a young dude who's just like a guy, and he's like, "You can't be doing this. It's just not good." There's no gravitas to the character at all.
So
Merlin
looks like the same age as Arthur in this?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a terrible choice.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find Merlin. It's real bad. Merlin comes back at the end as like a creepy old guy, and like it's just a young dude in prosthetic makeup, but even that one looks better than when he shows up in the beginning. In the beginning, he's just a guy.
I don't know, what is it with that actor from Stranger Things? I think he's a good actor, but for some reason he keeps getting these really shitty roles, and I don't understand.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Because he's good.
I don't know if
I think he's good. But sorry, go on.
I think the problem maybe is that I think everybody wants their franchise. I think he's like, I need my Iron Man. I need whatever they did for Robert Downey Jr. I need like my IP.
Yeah.
And I think instead of taking roles where he gets to act, it's smaller roles with less money, where he gets to just be a good actor and build up to that. I think he's looking for a jump into superstardom. And as a result, I mean, like, that's a very high risk, high reward thing, because you're going to end up in a lot of roles like the Hellboy role where it's either going to be very good or very bad, you know?
Yeah. Well, but also, like, he is good casting for Hellboy. Like, when I heard he was playing the part, I was like, oh, that works. He can bring the physical presence, and also, like, he has a kind of sensitivity to him that I could see him making that work. But then it's like they wrote him. Apparently, I didn't see the movie, but someone was saying that the writing was like, there was like oddly, there was like a nauseating quality to the writing where everything was like trying to be very like 13-year-old edgelord. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
You saw it.
Here's I'll send you Merlin.
Okay.
This is like shocking to me. It's like, this is Merlin? Again, what are we doing here? Like, what is the point of this? Is that Arthur's like frat buddy that he smokes weed with when he's not doing war? Like, what do we?
on it. Oh my goodness, that's not Merlin.
Yeah.
That's my friend.
Oh,
That's my friend Jay, who is a chaperone when you're on DMT.
dude, Jay's tight.
He's a
Dude, fucking
reliable
love Jay.
guy. He's cool. He
Jay's
also,
tight.
yeah, he's that guy in college who wants to convince you that there's people living on the backside of the moon.
Dude, if you need a hookup
Jay,
for whatever you're looking for, Jay's the guy. Like that's what that actor is.
he's got a killer van. Jay, yeah.
Yeah. No gravitas at all to any of these. And these are supposed to be your big mythological figures. It feels like a fan film. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
It feels like someone made it with their friends and they have like some very low budget CG. Like the CG is very bad, especially in the beginning. You will laugh out loud if you watch the opening scene where they cut off Mila Jovovich's head and put it in a box because her head's still alive. And they go, "We're going to bury you alive now, Morgan." And then it's just a shot of her face CG'd into a box and she goes, they just close the box and you can hear her screaming. It's very funny, very unintentionally hilarious.
You know what? I won't watch it, and you can't make me. Because
All right, well,
I don't know. Jokes aside, I don't know. I mean, I do kind of want to see it actually, but because
it's interesting. It's an interesting case study in how to get something wrong.
well, I enjoy schlock.
Yeah.
Like I really love the like '90s Swamp Thing. Okay, that's another guilty pleasure. Is
Mm,
Swamp Thing the Return?
that bathtub scene.
Oh yeah, the
Remember
everything
that?
scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also love the movie. I gotta say, the costume in Swamp Thing 2 is quite good. Do you remember his costume?
I do. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember loving everything about that movie.
I'm gonna bring it up for you. I'm gonna bring it up for all of you. I think it's called Swamp Thing: The Return. But he looks great, and the movie has some really great like Swamp Thing fight scenes where he just gets into punching contests with, he just like a slugfest with a monster. Um,
Hmm.
and it's very like it's really fun because like when you're a 10-year-old me, you watch that movie and you're like it's like these big meaty punches of him like punching a giant brain. It's just like really fun.
Best.
I'm looking for a good picture, but this is like it's got that Roger Corman quality where everything's really blurry.
Who owns Swamp Thing? Is it DC?
Yeah, yeah. So actually, so for a while he was on Vertigo Comics, which was a
Mhm.
subsidiary of DC. And then in the past few years, they actually merged the two. And so when they did, Swamp Thing became officially a part of the DCU in a more conspicuous way. And then they started including him more in the universe and the comics and stuff. So it was kind of cool to see him written into the world as if he had always been there.
It's cool.
Because it's a cool concept for a superhero. I love the idea that he's just like I just like take care of like plants in the green, and
Yeah.
when things mess with nature. There was a really great story. You know, Animal Man, the Alan Moore creation.
I'm not super familiar. I know what it is, but I've never read anything with the character.
He's this superhero who can like he can like borrow the powers of any animal. And
Oh, cool.
so there's this whole thing where there's this him and Swamp Thing join forces because Swamp Thing is a servant of the green, and then Animal Man is a servant of the red, like the
Mhm.
like mammalian animal life, and then so the two of them team up to fight this thing that's a servant of the rot, I think it's called, which is just the death of life.
Oh, dope.
So it's like all plant animal life is consumed by this demonic thing, and the two of them have to like join. And there's like this big, sprawling battle. It's cool. I mean, it's got some great art by Yannick Paquette. If anyone in the chat knows who that is, he draws it really beautifully. But it was cool because the way that they Animal Man's been around for a long time, but when they did the new 52 version of him, it's like whenever he borrows the powers of an animal, he looks like them a little bit, so he's kind of disgusting, and it looks fun. He looks like a Dr. Moreau character,
That's great.
which is like not the original at all. The original, he's just a handsome guy who just like flies. It's just like not that interesting to look at. Um, but
Also,
yeah,
Manimal. If you're familiar with Manimal,
I've heard the name. I don't remember what it's from though.
it's an old 70s TV show where a guy can turn into animals. And I think half the budget was put into the animal transformation scenes.
Oh sure.
Are shockingly awful, but also great. They are so disturbingly awful and fantastic because there's always a middle ground.
Yeah.
Like he's a guy and then he starts transforming and then he becomes the whatever animal he's turning into. Let me find a good one.
I mean, where is it on a scale from Jim Henson down to Animorph covers of the Animorph novels?
And I'll show you. It's oh boy. I wonder if you'd get. I don't think you'd get copyright struck if you watched it on stream, but I don't want to risk it.
Yeah,
God, it's so bad. The one where he turns into a bird. Whew.
yeah.
It's something. I'll send you this this partial. This partial's good. This will give you an idea.
Please do.
Oh, there we go. There's the picture I was looking for. I'll send you these two. He turns into a hawk, and these are some of the part ways, and they are just shocking.
Oh, I can't wait to see this. Oh
I'll
my
send you
god.
them.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And then this one. This is right before he becomes the hawk.
I'm dropping these in the chat, guys. I hope you're ready
It's
for
just
this.
amazing.
Hope you're ready for these images.
Manimal. The precursor to Animorphs.
Oh my god, I have to show
But
you
yeah,
to everybody.
some shocking special effects.
Oh, I have to. Sorry, I'm trying to drop it in the chat, but it won't let me because there's too many characters. I have to come back to this. I'm sorry, everybody. Oh my god, his eyes.
Yes. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Just human eyes with those prosthetics.
It looks like, yeah, an AI nightmare.
Yeah, it's horrifying. Watch the transformation videos. Anyone listening? They're hilarious. They play this epic music. The music's great. While he's transforming and he's like slowly breathing and like feathers are coming out of his skin. It's great.
Oh man, it's actually really interesting that they chose to do it that way instead of just having like a, because they kind of went the American Werewolf in London route where they show the slow
Hmm.
transformation and all of its horror.
It's funny because there's like three animals he can turn into ever, and like that's it. And like they use them in like every episode. Like there's nothing original. It's like I'll be a snake, or I'll be a hawk, or I'll be a jaguar. Like that's it. Never a scenario where we can become like a dolphin or something. It's got to be one of the things that we had the budget to do. We can't do anything else.
Edgar just says smashed.
Yep.
Standards. His standards leave much wanting, but yeah, that's I've never watched Manimal. Who plays Manimal when he's not animalizing?
Oh my, whoever that guy is, I can't remember his name.
The
It's
first
just
one,
man.
the first one you showed me of him, the profile shot of him turning into the. I have to see it again. He looks like Aaron Eckhart with his face being pulled by. Do you see it in profile? He kind of had, or he
I'll
kind.
send this to you.
Yeah,
I'll show you. Maybe you know this actor. I'll send it to you.
I might know him.
Here you go.
Okay.
He
Oh,
looks familiar.
yeah. He comes up on Mystery Science Theater quite a bit, which is probably not surprising to anybody.
Great.
Yeah, he's in like a bunch of B movies. I forgot his name, but he was like that leading man who almost made it. you know.
It's super funny because it plays like this very pump up 70s orchestra music. It's almost like in an old anime when like someone's gonna get in their robot and finally fight or their power. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
like the
And
reverby drums and everything, and it's so awesome. And then this shitty animal transformation, and you're like, all right, well, all right.
yeah, yeah. I would love a show where they build that up, and then every time he turns into an animal, his existence is just suffering because it's just totally unnatural. Like
Yeah, just the worst.
he's just
The
like
funny part
begging
is
people to
that
kill him.
the funniest part of the premise is that when he turns into a hawk, he still has a human brain capable of thought, and he doesn't automatically revert to a hawk brain and just give up on his mission and start looking for worms. That's the funniest part to me is that somehow his brain shrinks into a hawk body, and he still remembers that he's on a mission. It's so dumb.
That's such
It's
a
great.
that's such a funny thought that he would like turn into an animal and immediately forget his priority. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
he should do the thing that the animals do instinctually. Like he should turn into a jaguar and
Yeah.
then forget he's trying to save a girl and fuck off and just like hunt mice or something.
Yeah, he turns into a hawk and then he immediately gets distracted by a rodent coming up from the ground and he just
Exactly.
scoops it up and
That's
Yeah.
That's what I want to happen. That's what makes sense to me.
Do you ever watch SNL in the '90s? That skit that they always did, the Falconer,
Yes, I'm familiar with the Falconer.
and he's like
It's
he's
been a long time though.
it's this guy. It's like it was a fake TV show, like the Falconer. It was like his adventures with his pet falcon, and he was like he's trapped under a log, and he's like Falcon. I forgot the name of the falcon, but he's like fetch help, and the falcon flies off, and then it's just like a series of vignettes of what the falcon does when he's off looking for help, and it's just him going to nightclubs and like hooking up with like 3 or 4 women and like doing drugs, and he gets
What I want
drunk.
that shit to be.
He goes to a casino. He like does all. Then he comes back with like a single slice of cheese. He's like, "This shall sustain me, thank you, Falcon." That's
It's exactly what I want Manimal to be. That's all I want.
All right, you know what? I think
What's up, buddy?
I think I'm gonna go eat something.
Yeah, I should probably go to the gym. It's 3.
Yeah, man, you're not gonna get it if you don't do it before 4 o'clock. Well, actually, you go late sometimes, right?
I do go late. They just changed my pool hours back so I can go at night now.
Okay,
But yeah,
I should. Get
I
into
will
swimming.
go.
I should get into swimming. The fact that you swim so much is making me want to do it.
It's great. It's my favorite thing. My favorite part of the day.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it's gonna be what I'm doing now. Is I'm gonna eat something and I'm gonna go walk in the woods. That's like I look forward to that every day.
Hmm.
All right, man.
Love a walk in the woods. Someday I'll get there.
Yeah, you got to choose between that and swimming, right?
Yes.
I
When
guess-
it's not fucking freezing here, I will go.
Oh, Broken Blade says he watched the Manimal clip. He says the music is hilarious with the visuals.
Music's the best. You gotta go. It's such good pump up music. You gotta watch at some point. Oh, buddy, this was fun. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, man. Thanks. This was great. I'll talk to you next time.
Yep. All right, chat. I am gonna go to the gym. I will see you all later. Love you all. Farewell.
Goodbye, chat. I too am leaving, but I already went to the gym, so I'm gonna just walk in the sun, and I'm gonna eat something, and I hope you guys do the same. Thanks for hanging out. This was a great stream. It was nice to be able to talk to him. I mean, I love talking to Dan in general, but it was nice to have a longer stream and to talk about whatever he wanted. Thank you guys for tuning in, and hopefully you liked seeing the progress with this page. And yeah, I'll be posting the work in progress on my Patreon tonight. If anybody's new here, please give a thumbs up. It really helps the video, and yeah, it helps the channel out if you give a thumbs up. Not just the views, but just let it, whatever. You know the drill. All right.